That's very rude, coughing at the start of the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another 42 Level 1. I am one of your hosts, Alistair Kennedy. And here with me, as always, is the former Twilight Princess of all games, the current Twilight Princess of YouTube's, the former slash current CEO of Xbox, depending what day it is, the Manny of many names, but we just call him one, Andy.
Mr. Andy Urquhart here, as always. The Manny of many names. I like that.
Yeah, the Manny.
I feel like Manny from Black Books.
Mandy would be your name if you were a lady.
Mander.
But
Sure.
then that's man and D. So apologies, listeners, viewers. My throat has gone away on a holiday.
To New Zealand?
Maybe to New Zealand. I like what you did there. A slight reference to the title of this week's show. So yes, we'll be discussing why I moved to New Zealand later on. But we're here to discuss what we've been doing this week. I would like to apologising. We didn't do a news show, so we might throw a couple of news stories in here because there's some stuff that I want to discuss. But on Friday, I just got drunk. I just had enough. That's not where my sore throat came from. I have since recovered. Not that I was ill the next day, but there was a couple of news stories I definitely wanted to talk about. But first of all, Andy, I wanted to talk about how big this week is for games, man. Like, you get some straight bangers this week. We've just had Forza Horizon 5 drop today for everybody. Football Manager 22 got released for Xbox and I believe PC as well. PC Game Pass.
Straight into Game Pass as well, yeah.
That's insane. You've also got Grand Theft Auto remakes on Thursday, the trilogy, Definitive Edition, sorry they're called. And you've got Skyrim's like double, triple special edition coming out, which
Jesus. Anniversary edition, I guess.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's cool because what they've done is they've got officially licensed mods and they've just curated all them into the game, counted it as now the game, so they're now official Skyrim stuff. They've added fishing, they've added all these extra things, and I'm like, I want to play Skyrim again now. Like, I've bought this game I don't know how many times. It's like it's like a £15 upgrade on Thursday for me. I've got the anniversary edition. I bought it, or no, I've got the special edition, the next gen when I bought that. I can't wait, man. Like, I want to play some Skyrim this week. I want to play some GTA this week. Forza, I always want to play off and on, and Football Manager. I've no interest in spreadsheets, but there is a man who loves spreadsheets on the show, Andy. So if that's the best segue I can do to get you to talk about Football Manager, let's get out the road first, because no one really cares.
I'll literally talk about it for like 2 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool that it's on Game Pass. It's very similar to last year.
Surprisingly enough, for a spreadsheet based.
To be honest, that's about the only difference that I've noticed.
No,
but I
I'm going to try Morello Cherry next.
Nice. I started a new league with playing as Wigan, Ali. Wigan Athletic.
Who's Wigan?
Because I want to normally I'll play as like a team in the Premier League or
no, you'll play as Kilmarnock. I know every year you usually play as Kilmarnock. Are they not in it anymore because they've been relegated?
No, they're still in it, and I will do like.
Did your team get relegated though? Did your team get relegated?
In real life,
yeah,
get relegated.
Oh,
yeah. So usually, like, I'll play in the Premier League. Or
I can't say too much as a casual watcher because I've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager. Good player,
but yeah, normally I'll play as Kilmarnock in the Premier League, or I'll play as like Chelsea or Man City or somebody with money in the
somebody with money. You're such a hooer. You're like a slutty manager.
Well, the thing is, like, if you've got money, you can just buy whoever you want. Like, you sell the shit players you don't like, and then you buy all the players that you do like, and then that's it, and you make a team.
True.
But I decided that this year I wanted to try something a bit different, so I'm playing as Wigan, who are starting in League One. So League One is like, there's League One, then there's a Championship, and then there's the Premiership in England. So I'm doing that. So I'll do that, and I'll do a Kilmarnock one where I can get them back to the Premier League, which shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, it's the same game as last year, almost exactly. Like, they've maybe made minor tweaks to like some of the kind of interactions and that, but like, I know exactly how to play last year, and I know exactly how to play this year. It's basically the same with the new players and updated stats and whatnot. Clicking, lots of clicking. Yeah, I've only just gotten into. I think I'm 3 games into the season. Like, that's how far I'm in.
My brother-in-law absolutely used to adore Football Manager. I remember years ago, back when you physically bought PC games. It wasn't quite big box PC days, but it was
Mhm.
DVD case days, and it had came out and we'd been working all day, and he was like, everywhere's shut, and he made me get in the car and we drove to Curry's at Heathfield so that he could rush in and buy foot. He thought it was going to sell out. I went, Michael, I don't think Football Manager's ever sold out, bud. You're going to get it. I know now you can
Yeah.
just download it in Steam and whatnot, or
Yeah.
Game Pass, obviously, but I just remember that night very vividly, and I was like, really? And then he got home and he goes, do you want to sit and play it? I went, okay, show me it. And he showed me it, and I went, wow. Like, a sport that I've no interest in, and this is the least interesting side of the sport to me. I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go and play Gears of War. Bye.
Yeah, like you can do like online games and stuff in this one, where you can play like a league with your mates. So like one player controls one team, one player controls another team.
Do you know
and
this
then everyone
entire
else gets control. That's cool.
this entire game is a mode in NBA 2K?
Sure.
Like you can
it's fine.
everything you've described, you can do, like buy, sell players, hit, auto advance, hit, sim game.
I mean,
At least in
there
2K
is a-
you can click play game, play the game with a good
yeah,
engine.
you cannot play the game, and like when you're watching the game, like if you want to sit and watch the game, you're
Yeah.
gonna have a bad time. Like, because I don't know if you've ever seen like the football gameplay part of
So
it in Football Manager.
I
It
haven't,
looks
but
like shit.
I used to have
Like,
a game years ago on the PC called, now the name's gone, but it was something else manager, and it actually had a football game engine in it, but it was like Actua Soccer. That's what the football was like when you played it.
yep,
It wasn't Euro Manager, but it was only in PC.
maybe Champ Manager.
And that wasn't that
no.
one,
No.
because that one was in PlayStation as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't
But-
LMA,
but yeah,
but it was something else.
It's kind of similar to that though. It's like an Actua Soccer type like engine. It's slightly better graphics than that now, but like you compare it to like PES and FIFA, and like it looks fucking terrible. So like I just turn that off. I don't like seeing it because
Down.
you watch the replay and it's like it never looks cool. Like
What's
you know
it
when you
called?
watch a replay of a goal in football, like in real football or in PES or in FIFA, like it looks cool. Someone like crosses it in, they do a header, someone does a bicycle kick, that sort of shit. Like none of it looks natural or anything when you're watching the game. Like so, I all stats in it are fine, and yeah, it's the same game as last year basically, but with updated teams. Sorry. But yeah, cool that it's on Game Pass. Like that's what I'm pumped about, that it's on Game Pass day one. Because it did come to Game Pass last year, but it was after a few months.
And I don't think it was on
so yeah.
PC day one either.
No, it wasn't on Game Pass PC day one. It was like months after it came out. I think it might have even been in lockdown or something like that.
Yeah, it
at one
was.
point when it came
But
out.
it never came to the PC. It was Xbox, wasn't it?
Oh, it did come to PC as well. But it was months after it came out.
See, I used to get codes for this hockey manager game, but I don't think it was. I just didn't find it fun. Remember FHA? We interviewed the guys, I'm sure. Or
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
a
yeah.
written interview.
Yeah.
Did we have them on the show?
I mean, I don't remember speaking to them, but I think you might have.
Yeah, you seemed to dodge for an interview back then. So did Rock. No one seemed to want to do interviews with actual people. The one that you did do was Stuart Gilray, because I made you do it. I went, Andy, this is yours. Speak.
Yeah. I mean, I like doing interviews with people, but only when it's something that I care about or like I'm interested in.
It's not what
Like,
journalism does. High quality journalists like ourselves.
definitely not fucking hockey manager game. Like
Do you know-
that is no.
But the most daunting, I know we don't do interviews now, but the most daunting one I did was, remember the guy that played Ken, Christian Howard? He was an awesome dude, but he thought it was going to be a video call, and this was before video calls were comfortable. So I had Ken from Street Fighter looking at me, like, hi, in your LA home, Ken. I had to try so hard not to call him Ken, but he just looks like Ken. And this is a genuine. He's been in Hollywood movies. He was in one of the Green Street, the movie.
Yeah.
He was in, I think, 2 or 3, whatever one of those, that franchise. He's been in other things as well, and also he was obviously Ken in Assassin's Fist. And I'm like looking at this guy, and he did a cool soundbite for our old intro as well. Remember, he was like totally sound, but see, to me that was I kind of I've winged this for the past 9 years, as you know, like that was like, I can't wing this. I've got to try and compose myself here. Like,
Fake it till you make it, and we've not made it yet.
we
That's what
don't
it
need
is.
to make it. This is just giving me peace and quiet on a Tuesday night for an hour or two. Hi, Science Spy. Thanks for joining. Apologies for my
Hello.
husky, sultry voice. It's I don't know why. Having children, how often do kids can't chat painting? Love you. Okay, love you too. Uh,
Nice.
so
Love you too.
how often do kids get the cold? By the way, like it seems every week Lexi's got the cold.
I think it depends on like how often do you get the cold? Because you seem to get the cold a lot more than I do.
Do you know why I get the cold? Because not my new job, but my previous job was face to face with people fixing their phones that they've coughed and spluttered on.
See, it's very rare, touch wood, that I get the cold.
Yeah, but
Very rare.
your job, I know it's facing public, but it's not like direct sitting down with the public across from each
No.
other for any extended period of time in general. Especially you're a
True.
high status in the shop. There's no way you're sitting through a 300 DVD trade-in. But for me, like my job in general is like sitting this close to like old Nancy, who's been ill for a week and decided to come and cough at me while I fix her Nokia. So
Wonderful.
wonderful, wonderful. But no, like I don't get the cold from my work a lot now because of my mask. It tends to be if Lexi picks it up at nursery, she'll give it to
Yeah.
Leo, and Leo being slavery as he is, slivers all over you these days because he's one. And yeah, I ended up with a cold. But I get that many colds that it doesn't really like. It annoys me because I get a sore throat, but it's not like sore or painful or anything like that. And yes, I've took a COVID test, several of. I do them regular, but like no, I just get the cold, and it's part of winter for me. It's like winter is coming, my nose is blocked.
Yeah. I'm quite resistant to it anyway, but like I think what's made a big difference to me is just driving to work and back every day and not having to get the train with people.
True, because that's an enclosed space, eh?
Yeah, because it's just me, no one else. I'm not
Yeah.
like I'm not in with all these random people, like obviously circulating all the air and all that shit. So I love it. I love driving my car to work and back. It's
Very
brilliant.
true. See, I
Um,
don't mind, I walk. But anyway, back on to
Yeah.
the spreadsheet manager 2022.
I really don't have anything else to say about it because
Wow.
it is
You
just
told
Football
me,
Manager,
let me
same as
quote,
last year.
why you weren't playing Forza.
I hadn't even started playing it when I messaged you that.
Yeah, you had, because I seen you on Xbox. Because I always check Xbox and PlayStation to see if it's worth texting Andy at first.
Well, yeah, but I was just making my guy because you have to create your avatar and all that.
Make an avatar for a text-based adventure. Okay. I believe
yeah,
you said
because he's-
something. I can't be bothered looking, but I believe you said something along the line. I'm playing the true big hitter this week,
Today, I said today.
but that wasn't the big hitter that day.
It was yesterday. Today it's different.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to pop up
but
in so many Game of the Year conversations. And I'm not saying, I'm not taking away from
no.
the quality of the game, but the problem is with that game, they've set the standard, and it's like, this is what the game is. And
Yep.
unless they shake up the formula, that's what it is, and people are happy with it. Sega making money hand over fist by just going, there you go. The intern boy, just stop making coffee and change the names in Football Manager,
Yeah.
please. And somebody
So
design
almost-
some new icons.
almost every year, like see, even when if I've spent money on it or if I've got it through Game Pass, I'll still spend money in the game because there's a in-game editor tool that you can buy for £10
I'm
and it
playing
lets you.
this swell new game, Final Fantasy. What number's that?
Oh, that's a great game.
What
Final
number's
Fantasy
that?
12.
Do you know what? That's a
12.
fantastic game.
12.
I hope you're enjoying
Yeah,
it.
great
Like, did you not nearly get a divorce before you were married because of this game?
Oh, I got into a big fight because of Final Fantasy 12. Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
Ashley was not happy with me for playing that game.
But did she not?
Because I
You
spent
tried to make her your Jeeves though, did you not? I'll just eat here, darling.
I spent 3 days like playing that game straight. Like, I mean, we'd been together for a wee while, like not years, but definitely months at that point. And I played this game for 3 days straight, and basically didn't move from the chair except to go to sleep.
Do you know the
She
game
was
that
not happy.
was similar to me, but my previous relationship that did that? Assassin's Creed, and like I came out of gaming for maybe a couple of years during my 20s because there's other interests in your 20s. It's not just DualShocks that rumble. So like I went round to a friend's house because I was going into town to get some beverages, and he said, "Come up to mine," and he had an Xbox sitting, and I went, "What's this?" I mean, I hadn't touched my PlayStation in God knows how long, at least a year or two. I mean, I'd played it on and off, and I was like, "What is this? Assassin's Creed?" I went straight to game. I bought Assassin's Creed. I bought the beverages. Went home, and at that point, the person that I was with at the time, her parents were coming over for dinner that night. Mate, I didn't just sit like ignoring her. I sat for the entire dinner saying I'm not hungry. I actually went, "Yeah, thanks for coming round," and then I took the absolute pelters in my ear and went, "Yep, cool. Okay, you going to bed? Yep, see you tomorrow." Honestly, that relationship lasted a further year and a half after that. But yeah, like I know, man. But Assassin's Creed was so good. It was such a game changer as well. But Final Fantasy 12, good choice. For me, Football Manager's not what I'm going to play. But yeah, Final Fantasy 12.
I know.
So
Yeah, Football Manager's good. Aside from that, I'll tell you what other things I play.
no, because I'm changing up a wee bit. I'm changing up.
Change it. I like change.
I'm changing
New
up.
is always better.
So yeah, we are because of what I like segues.
Okay. How can you segue from football to I don't know what?
How can I say? I don't need to segue from football. Like no one cares. Sorry, people do care. I don't. What I was gonna say is, like, we can talk about that one later. So, where is it? I wish it would go away.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's like so excited about something. I don't know what it is.
It was I wanted to go into Metroid. So yeah, back to the news. That's not a segue. This has been absolutely awful. You've broken it up and made it sound ridiculous. But Sakamoto has said, even though he said that Dread was the closing chapter of Samus's journey. Right, here's what happened. We'll get back to this as well because the same happened with Smash, right? So I can't remember the dude's name that makes Smash, but he said he's done with Smash, not again. Right, but I think this is a case of you've asked Daniel Craig the day he finished filming if he's looking forward to the next Bond, and he says that he would rather die. Right, it doesn't mean that he's quitting. It just means let's not talk about the next one. Let's just promote this one. So they asked this Smash guy, and he said no, and he's now talking about how a next Smash would go and what his involvement would be. But he says that there's no discussions at the moment. Right, but no discussions at the moment doesn't mean if he was out, he would say, "As I said, I'm done with Smash." That's what he would say.
Yeah. That guy's off his fucking nut, man. Like absolutely off his nut. That guy. But he's clearly done in, like from doing Smash for however many years, and he wants a break. So yeah take 4 years off, and then he come back and do another one.
He could take longer because what they're going to do is obviously your Switch 2 or your next Nintendo. They're just going to do Ultimate Smash Complete Edition with all the characters from the DLC. Yeah. They'll just go, there it is. And that's fine with me. I'll buy it again. So, like I said, Sakamoto, who is the Metroid guy, he said that Samus's story concludes. And we've finished Metroid, and it's technically true. There's more though. There's her story with the Metroids and the X is concluded as far as like the 5 games have went. Like she's wrapped all her loose ends up as far as we know. But he said, as long as she exists, there'll be more games. So, spoilers, she doesn't die at the end.
Die. Yeah, doesn't die.
I'm not going to say what happens at the end, but she doesn't die. Which I kind of expected when he said that this is the end of her story, but I think basically he means it's going to lead on to new things.
I think it depends how well this game ends up selling overall.
I think it's sold alright, to be fair. I think it's
for me, it's like one of the best 2D games I've ever played. It's fucking brilliant.
I'd agree.
Like such a great game. Yeah,
I would absolutely agree. But the next question that comes from that is: does Prime 4 does it do the whole prequel route again, like, or does it follow? I think it has to come after this, Andy. I think it has to. I don't think this can be a prequel because, well, one, it can't fit between Fusion and Dread, right? I know you haven't played it, but spoilers for Fusion. But Fusion and this kind of go straight into each other. Like, they go straight.
Okay.
I don't know about the gap between Super Metroid and Fusion, if they can fit another trilogy in there, because as far as I remember, Prime Trilogy comes after Metroid 2, before Super Metroid.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Because Metroid 1, they discover Metroids are bad. Metroid 2, she goes to kill all the Metroids. Metroid 3, which is Super Metroid, I don't know, I haven't played it. 4, they discover the X Parasite, and then Dread's Dread. So I don't. Where could you see them going with Prime? Because I think next year we have to see Prime. I think we have to see Prime next year.
I think 100% it comes out next year. Like, I don't think they can delay it anymore.
Nope.
I know they restarted it,
What is
but it was 4 years ago.
It's 4 years ago they restarted that.
Yeah.
So they've had 4 years.
ago they
Now,
restarted.
what was it? GTA 5 had a 4 or 5 year dev cycle for GTA 5. This is not going to
Yeah.
be on the scale of GTA 5. This, I don't even think, and this is no offence because I think it's going to be incredible, probably better. This is not even going to be as big as Halo Infinite.
No, definitely not.
So, 4 years. And I was speaking about this the other day to someone that liked Nintendo, and they said, there's no way they can bring it out next year without even a hint. I said, do you know Nintendo? Nintendo can announce a game,
They
like
love-
Metroid Dread,
yeah.
and then go, yeah, it's out this year. Look, here it is.
Yeah,
We've kept it secret. Boom.
Nintendo are actually great for it. Like, they've done it quite a number of times where they've been like, oh, look, here's the game, it's out this year. And like, now and again, things have been delayed to like into the early part of the next year. Like, I think Animal Crossing they did it with as well. Like, they were like, oh, it's coming out this year, and
They
then
did.
it got delayed to come out the following year. And they did it with I'm sure they did it with Mario Odyssey as
They
well.
did.
And then
Andy, they've done it with all the main games. They've
Smash, yeah.
The only one
It
that's
was-
been longer, excuse me, is Breath of the Wild
Zelda.
2.
Yeah.
But that's got a huge shadow to come out from underneath Breath of the Wild, man. Like, this has got to top that. But again, the way I see Breath of the Wild 2 is it's going to top it because it's next gen current gen only, like Switch, whereas the last one was kind of hindered because it was a port from the Wii U, a bit like Twilight Princess was for the GameCube, even though the Wii was just a bit of
I don't know. I think that the new Breath of the Wild game is going to be like more like Majora's Mask to Ocarina. I don't think people are going to like it.
Really? Do you think it's going to be controversial? They're going to take risks? I doubt it because I think they know that they've got liquid gold in their cup when it comes to Breath of the Wild, Andy. So that's why you're
Anyway,
on
I'll-
Xbox, not Nintendo.
I hope they do. I hope they do make another Metroid game, the 2D one, like because I love that.
They will
Metroid
because
Dread.
the reception's been through the roof from critics and fans. Like, I don't see, the only criticism is it's too hard. I can tell you right now with confidence, it's not too hard. You've just gave up too quick.
I completed it.
You will learn.
I
You will learn, and feeling it is gratifying. You actually feel like a better gamer beating each boss, even if it takes you a few times. I've never, in the years I've known Andy, known him to be that enamoured with a game is probably the right word, that he wanted to go back to beat a boss that he kind of used a skip on in a way. The fact that you did that shows how much the game was like, yeah, that's fine, I'm going to play another 2 hours to get back to that boss to beat him. I've not known you do that with a game, really, ever, of this.
I've done things like that for trophies before, but never just for like the sake of
Yeah,
me
that's what I mean.
having beaten the game like without using the amiibos.
Absolutely. So, which is fantastic, the fact that you did it, but, sorry man, like, these are going down too easily. I'm on my third can, and we're not even an hour into the show. So, with that said, Metroid, had you finished it last week?
Yeah. We spoke about it last week.
Cool, so so my segue was to talk about my first game that I played this week. So I get back into Samus Returns, Andy.
TDF.
Onto DS because I finished Metroid Dread and I was Jones, and I'm like, I need a fix. I need Metroid. I downloaded Castlevania. Have you tried the cherry one? Is Tasha watching the show? Yes. It's.
I don't think Tasha's watching the show. I think
I think she is.
Just... Oh,
No,
hi
because
Tasha, if you watch.
hi Tasha, but she's up there. She's like a room
Okay.
away. So the Metroid Dread finished. Don't drink them all. I won't. Oh, I don't know if she's watching that. I won't. Damn wife. So, the Metroid Dread feeling, I downloaded Castlevania, and I was like, I need Metroid. I'll get the Castlevania, but I want to play it alongside Andy because it will encourage me to stick with it. There is nothing wrong with Castlevania. I'll put that disclaimer in. It's just me preferring sci-fi to fantasy.
Well, I don't think we really know yet because we haven't really ever given Castlevania a fair shake.
Well,
Like
we weren't
I've played it
Nintendo
for
guys. We were Sega
yeah,
guys.
exactly, yeah. I've played it for maybe a grand total of 15 minutes, like out of all the
Yeah.
Castlevania games ever, and 5 minutes of that was at Eurogamer. Like,
I would say I've gave it half an hour between the new one on iOS that I gave up on. I don't really like playing games on my phone that much, and I can't be bothered taking my razor with me into work every day. It's like can't be bothered. I played a bit of the 3D one. It was okay, you know, the three over the shoulder
Lords
style.
of Shadow, yeah, Lords of
It
Shadow.
was all right. But the one that I keep hearing about, Symphony of the Night, so I purchased, I think it was like £3 on offer on the PlayStation Store for Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, I believe it's called. And I'm like,
Yep.
do you know what? Symphony of the Night's the one to play. If this is the best game, although people say Super Metroid is
Yeah,
the best, Symphony of the Night is the one to play. So I want to play it alongside Andy because I believe it is like Metroid, like getting stuck, fighting bosses. But I needed more Metroid. And I've already finished Zero Mission, which is the remake of the first one. Fantastic game. If you can manage to play Zero Mission, give it a shot. And Metroid 2, I'm not playing the Game Boy version. Samus Returns is the only way to play it. So, this is how I'll describe the game because obviously I've got the Metroid 3DS. I've got Samus 3DS that came out with it. And I've got the game. I think it took Metro. I mean, like I said, I'd finished Zero Mission, but it took Metroid Dread for me to fully understand and appreciate what Metroid games are, Andy. And now I'm
yeah, me
like,
too.
I know what this is, and I absolutely
Mhm.
love it. Like, I don't know why I skipped it, and I think it's. I didn't get into the whole Prime thing. Like, this is the cool thing if they redo Prime. I've not finished any of the Prime games. I've played bits of the
Mhm.
first one, and I know
Same,
you
yeah.
played the third one, I think it was, you'd said
Played
on
the
the
third
Wii.
one, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I never had the GameCube for long. I played Resident Evil 4 on it and then got rid. I never even finished Resident Evil 4. I just was like, yeah, this console's no good for anyone. But that's back when I couldn't
You're wrong.
appreciate. I know 100% it's wrong. I couldn't appreciate consoles back then. I had to be on the cool kid console with the PlayStation 2 at the time. So now that I've got a grasp of Metroid, I know how it works, I know what the game's looking for. If you know what I mean, it's not doesn't mean that I can instantly figure out Metroid and I'm a master of it now. It just means that I understand how rooms work, how puzzles work,
Yeah.
um, and what I said to Andy was that the game, when I anyone want to buy a cat for sale, Bond, quit it. He listens. He's in here. Don't go in the huff of me. So pets. So like I got him a Mega Drive on Sonic Tuesday. So my Sonic 1 was Master System Sonic 1. My Sonic 2 was Mega Drive Sonic 2. After
Mhm.
I completed Sonic 2, I traded it in. It was still high value at the time. Say I got £30 trade in. I got myself Sonic 1. And I got myself, I want to say Altered Beast. It was probably Altered Beast because it was pack in before Sonic 2.
Yeah.
So I got those. Seaplane Sonic 1, it was good, but it was you missed certain things. I missed the spin dash move. I missed
Spin Dash,
right.
Tails.
So this is kind of what Samus Returns feels like now to me, even though I started playing it before. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile playing. I'm just saying certain quality of life things like the slide move. I undervalued how much I relied on that move
Use it all the time,
all the
man.
time. Like a tunnel comes
Yeah.
and you're like sliding, just go in because you slide and turn into the ball if you go under,
Yep.
and it works so well. See now, if I'm running towards a tunnel, I'm like, oh god, I have to push down, and it seems like first world problems, Ali, but it's like a quality of life thing, and I understand it.
Mhm.
Apart from that, the game's really rock solid. It's easier because you've got your dual screens, hence the name DS. And like the bottom screen has your map permanently there. And most of my time in Metroid Dread was spent pausing, going, if I go here and then I go here, that's how I can get here.
Yeah.
So all I need to do now is look down and go, okay, there. Then I just head for it. It's great. It's absolutely great. You've got the moves from Dread are obviously in this. You've got your counter move, which is great. The enemy flashes, counter, shoot, boom. So you can move. I can move through areas quicker. Like I'm 12 hours in, and I've only put 2 hours in after Dread, right? So in my first 10 hours, I'd killed 25 Metroid. In the last two, I think I killed 10 in one night, Andy. I just absolutely annihilated them.
Yeah.
It's not a difficult game compared to Dread. Obviously, there's still the exploration, figuring out. It's not really puzzle; it's more environmental puzzles. Is there a name for that? Is there a
Yeah. No, I think that's
yeah,
probably an apt description of it. Yeah.
environmental progression puzzles sort of thing? That's more what you're figuring out. There is the odd boss, which is a bigger Metroid. Like, you know what Metroids are? They're jellyfish with teeth.
Yeah.
Space jellyfish with teeth. So, and they can like possess you and like mess up your DNA and all this sort of stuff. So, after the first game, Zero Mission, or sorry, just Metroid, which I do plan on going back and playing the original Metroid just to see how hard it is without like a map and just aimlessly wandering. But that'll be more a curioso thing at the end of it because I still need to do Super and I was quite a chunk into Fusion. So anyway, back to Samus Returns, I'll finish up. What happens is you've got your areas and each area has like a almost it's a chozo circle like sort of statue thing where you put the DNA of the Metroids in the area. It's got a count of how many Metroids, and once you've done that, the purple lava disappears, and you can go down to the next area. It's fine.
Okay.
It's simple. That's how it works. So, once you kill one Metroid, bing, bing, the next one pings in your map. So you just have to make your way to him, or her. Who knows? Maybe they're genderless. Maybe they're they, them. I don't know. I only say that because the game last night gave me that option. I was like, okay. I get it. You've got to be politically correct, but I'd never seen it in a game before. Like
I think
he, him,
I think
she,
it's.
her.
Oh yeah. From Forza.
Forza, yeah, and it said they, them.
We'll
Get to that.
Yeah.
But in Metroid, anyway, I definitely play as a she because it's Samus, one of the most badass females in gaming. Anyway, like I would not like to take on Samus. I think she would kick Master Chief's ass personally. Like, come at me. I think Samus would decimate Master Chief. I think she's more interesting as well. So Samus, in this has got most of the powers you see in Dread, Andy, but like Sonic 2, they're slightly better, they're slightly more powered up. So once you get around to playing this, you will enjoy your experience. But like I said, the best comparison I can make is when I went from Sonic 2 to Sonic 1. It's like, oh, okay, this is fine. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I've just finished, but I can see where what I played came from now.
Totally.
And it's very much, it's methodical more than like, okay, this is confusing. There's less big bosses like Kraid and such like. There's nothing like that. There's no Emmys. But the weird thing is you can hear the Emmy noise in the game. Like there was a bit I sent you the other night and it did that.
Yep.
And that's an Emmy noise. And then I sent you another clip and I died shortly after. It's like, that took me several attempts. Not as many attempts as Kraid though. And basically a giant Emmy thing in the background, which I turned the 3D on to see and it looked quite impressive. It was like a giant Emmy with a red eye looking like on the 2D playing at me, and he hit something and this sort of like big metal tumbler started coming after me, like just decimating the map, and I had to run and move really fast, which isn't as easy on a DS as it is controllers. So that took me a few attempts, and I'm blaming the controller more than me, because it's got small L1, R1 buttons for like ducking, aiming, changing to the grapple hook, you know, because some of the parts you had to use the grapple hook to pull forward. Made it in the end. I've not come across anything in this game so far, Andy, that I've been like, I'm stumped. And you remember Metroid Dread? Every so often I was like, Andy, buy the game because I'm stuck. Andy, I'm stuck again. And obviously when you bought it, you get stuck as well, and you're like, Ali, mate, here's where I'm at. And I would give you pointers from what I could remember, and sometimes it was irrelevant because I'd just told you how to beat something else at a different part of the game, but most of the time I tried to help. But like, this is a good game. It's just, sometimes it feels like more of a, I'm just because I don't find that much of a challenge to kill the Metroids. Don't get me wrong, I've died before. They've got a pattern, but it's not complicated like a Chozo soldier, like a Kraid, like an Emmy or anything. It's just kind of shoot them underneath and dodge, and I get bored of doing that, so I sometimes just run under, rocket, rocket, rocket. I'll take the damage. Hopefully, you'll die before like I do. But yeah, it's a decent game. Like, and I would love this on Switch. I don't think it's going to come to Switch at this stage, but it would be a sensible option to drop. People would snap it up just now. Throw in the slide move and put it in Switch. That's what I said to you the other night. This game,
maybe, like, obviously they've seen Dread do well, so like people will be kind of clamoring for like Metroid stuff now. So maybe they could do like a package of those games like next year.
They should. I would buy it again. See if they put the original Metroid 1 and 2, Zero Mission Samus Returns, Super Metroid, which doesn't have a remake, Fusion, all together in one thing for $40. I'm buying it. I'm getting it. It's a no-brainer to me. Throw in artwork, unlockable suits, amiibo for all games, that sort of thing. Yeah, brilliant. But this game's good. I think you're going to enjoy it, but I want to hear if you think... You know what I mean by playing Sonic 1 after you've played Sonic 2
I know
first?
exactly what you mean, mate. Yeah, totally.
It's like playing Assassin's Creed 1 after Assassin's Creed 2. It's like, but I've got all these cool things. I can see where it came from, and it's fine, but why can't I do this move that I'm used to using now? So yeah, it's good. It looks nice. I do plan on going back and playing Super Metroid, but I think my plan is this one, maybe a Castlevania if me and your schedules for gaming syncs up to play it alongside each other. Because I definitely want to play a Metroidvania alongside you, like, because we haven't done a game like that for a while now. If you haven't listened to the show, you'll perhaps not know that I'm a bit antisocial. Not with Andy. I'll play online most of the time with Andy, but it tends to be difficult more than anything for me to get set times to play these days. So, what me and Andy do sometimes is we play games like The Witness, things alongside each other, and we backwards and forwards, information, share, we talk, and we like doing that rather than Google and YouTube. So like we haven't had a game like that for a while, and like something we were meant to do with Metroid Dread, but Andy'd get annoyed with Amazon delivering it 2 days later, so he said I'm not buying it, and then he got it a week later. So by that point, Andy had got it. I believe I was in the final boss or close to.
Yeah, you were the final boss.
Yeah. So I stopped playing for a week or so, like, but Castlevania is the sort of game we've both got it on PlayStation now, so it's something we could dip into, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So I want to play Castlevania after Samus Returns or soon. I don't mind. I know there's a lot of games this week, but the thing is with like not Football Manager for me, but Grand Theft Auto is a game that I will chip away at. I'm in no rush to complete Grand Theft Auto. I'm in no rush to finish the Skyrim 17th version of Skyrim. And Forza, like I explained to you, is more of a game that I throw on for an hour or two at night when I can't decide what to play. That's how Forza always has been for me. I'm not taking anything away from Forza being a good game. I'm just saying that's what Forza is for me. So, Samus Returns is basically all I've played this week. However, saying that, going back to the news, Andy. So, Playground Games have come out and said, not Playground Games, but a guy that works for Playground Games has said, Fable has now been in active development production for 4 years. Fable has been worked on for 4 years, which means it was started before Forza Horizon 4 came out. That's further along than I thought. That's a lot further along than I thought. Now, people thinking it's going to come out next year, I think, are going to be sorely disappointed. Because when you think of a game, when people think of Fable, they think epic. They think multiple choices, they think multiple endings, multiple possibilities, multiple storylines. Because that's what happens in a Fable game. And they've got to deliver on them. And the trailer made it look like a big, epic Avatar style, like magical world. Like Albion looks completely different from what we've ever seen. Is it a fresh start? Is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it a prequel? Who knows? But at the same time, they've got to deliver. So when they came out and said this week in the news that this is 4 years in development, I'm like, I don't think it's next year. I don't think they're going to rush this at all because they've already learned the lesson with Halo that me and you were fine with, but people complained about. Fable it needs time, because if they're bringing Fable back as a staple, because it was always Halo, Fable, Gears, that was your Xbox games, that was the three, and then Fable disappeared. I think around about the time Peter Molyneux left Xbox, they kind of just put Fable to the side after the Kinect game. It was okay. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst game in the world, but it wasn't great. No Kinect game was. But this Fable is a chance for them to do something different. And I've heard a lot of people online chatting saying, how can guys that make car games, like make an open world game, how can these guys decide they're doing a JP? If you've ever played a Forza Horizon game, you will know these guys can do an open world better than a lot of people. Like, you might not think of Forza Horizon as an open world game, but it 100% has been since Forza Horizon 3. Like, from Australia to Britain, now Mexico. If you take the car out of the equation, right? Throw in a knight with a sword and a shield. Look at the size of the world you've got to explore, man. Like, are you kidding me? These guys have maintained a steady online presence for 20 plus players in your server, driving about. Like, you can challenge them to races at any point. You can chat to them in it without any hassles. Like, you hear about server problems with every game these days. You never hear about them with Forza. Like, it's always spot on. So they've got that locked down. And people saying about mechanics, oh, they don't know how to make it. These guys have made every car in this game, and not just Forza Horizon 5, we'll talk about that later, but they've made every car feel different. From speed, takeoff, to stopping, to when you upgrade the engine, the drive shaft, everything in this game. It's not overly complicated, you're not talking customization levels of Gran Turismo, but you've got arcade customization. The car actually feels different once you upgrade it. Like, you get different feedback on the controller. Like, it handles differently. Like, it drives differently. And they've made the art of pulling your handbrake instead of your standard brake feel so smooth and natural if you can hit it right, that you can drift the way that you imagine that you would in real life if you could get away with it. But that's what I mean. So if you're saying that these guys can't do good mechanics, play Forza and tell me that's a bad game for car handling. Like, say what you like about Forza, the car handling is spot on. I used to love Midnight Club, Rockstar, but like, this is the best car handling I've ever played in any game ever. And I'm not just talking about the new one, I'm just saying Forza Horizon since the third one. So yeah, basically Fable being in the works, I am so satisfied with these guys making it, especially after playing Forza Horizon 5 Mexico Edition. Because I moved to New Zealand this week, Andy. I moved to New Zealand.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I leaving on a jet ski. That would take a while, wouldn't it? A jet ski. And planes, I probably couldn't go on a plane these days with COVID either. So, no, I just stayed here. So what I did was an Xbox support this. Larry Hurd did it. He put his hand up when they made the Xbox New Zealand said, welcome to all the people that moved to New Zealand last night. And it's because if you move to New Zealand, you get 12 hours on your time zone, so you can play games 12 hours early. Without any consequence, and it's just to stop server overload that they don't do synchronized release. So I was playing Forza last night a bit early, but tomorrow from 12 I'll be able to play San Andreas GTA. And if anyone wants to know how to do it, like, this has been retweeted as a joke by Xbox. They know people are doing it, so it's not breaking the law by any means. What you do is you go in your settings menu on your Xbox. Yeah, you go to languages, location, open up that menu, you go to location, change it to New Zealand, restart to apply changes, and any game on Game Pass or on the digital store that you've bought on the UK store, you can play it as long as the time in New Zealand matches the launch date. The only issue is if once you've did that, because I checked, you go to the store, then it's all New Zealand prices, so you can't really buy anything. But if you've bought, say, like Arkham Knight when we waited for it, like if you'd bought it on the British store, then you change your location to New Zealand, you get that on the New Zealand launch time. So somebody figured out it works with Game Pass games as well, so I was playing Forza a bit early last night, and tomorrow from about lunchtime, if my son is down for a nap, San Andreas will be fired up 12 hours before it should be on my Xbox. Obviously I'll need to change it back for purchases come Black Friday and stuff like that, but at the moment it's really good for doing it. And I think they're not limiting the amount of times you can change your location for your Xbox now, so that's fine with me.
Whereas I mean, they can't, because
they
at any point you could literally...
But they did.
You could at any point move.
Yeah,
like, say if you move
correct.
to
but
to New Zealand today,
you
and
couldn't
then
do it every
tomorrow
day.
move
It
to
was like
Mexico.
they allowed you to do it once every 6 months, because if you moved to New Zealand, they would expect you to be there for a set. So it used to be every 6 months you could change your location in the store. Now you can just do it willy nilly. Literally, I can change it back to UK now. So yes, what it is worth doing if there's a game you really want to play and you're off like the day before, it hasn't worked out at work, or you want to play it like once you got home from work because you don't want to wait up to midnight. This is my way of doing it now, Andy. Now that I've seen Xbox laughing and joking, Larry Hurd putting his hands up at it, and several influencers with ticks on Twitter laughing about it, to me it's like, this is okay then. If Xbox themselves have tweeted saying, welcome to New Zealand, everyone that's moved here.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there's probably not a whole lot of people that do it. You might get
No.
10,000 maybe, which is a
Yeah.
small number of people,
But
like
it's
in the
not.
grand scheme.
It's not. You're not breaking the law. You've already paid for your Game Pass.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Totally.
the way I see it, and you've paid for your a digital game on the store, obviously. So, like, anytime I've got a game come to Xbox I want to play early, New Zealand, baby, that's where I'm flying. So yeah, let's talk about Forza Horizon 5, which is set in Mexico. Now, I've only played till you open up um, your second area, your second place. So the game starts off and it kind of feels like Fast and Furious. It parachutes your car in. It gives you a chance to do off-road cars, on-road cars, smaller cars, jeeps, and it kind of just throws you in. It gives you a sample of them all. I'll just tell you how the game starts, and then I'll let Andy talk more, because it's everybody that listens knows my feelings about Forza. It's one of the best series out there, and this is Andy's kind of first day one sort of thing, because I don't even think you were that enamoured by Forza Horizon 4. No wonder.
Tried it. It was alright.
Forza Horizon 4 wasn't a good Forza Horizon game. I take it back. I just didn't like the setting. It's like looking out the window. They'd done it that well that it's like, I don't want to fire up this game and look at dreich skies, as we say in Scotland.
I did try that game day one. I drove to Edinburgh from wherever I was. That was it. That's all I did.
I played quite a bit of it, obviously, but I didn't enjoy it. I preferred Australia because it feels more like, yeah, I'm actually like living a fantasy. I'm not like driving to the Lake District. So like Forza Horizon 5, you do that, and then it kind of, you start your first event. And the good thing that they do is they start with a showcase. Now, in Forza Horizon 4, they had showcases, but they didn't kind of push them to the forefront. Now, you're like, what's a showcase? Whoa. I'll tell you. So it's when they do events during your Forza Horizon Festival, where it's like your car versus like a plane, like a guy on a jet ski, like a boat, like Top Gear does this sort of thing, or racing motorbikes through the forest, and it's like cool slow-mo jumps where you maybe can synchronise and go over the bikes, and or there was one in Forza Horizon 4 where you raced a train, like that sort of thing. And the fact that they opened with this sort of race, that was cool to me. Like, it showed you all the things you could do, all the new environmental effects, like storms, you can drive through dust storms, things like that. That's cool, that's awesome. So, starting with showcase, they've clearly listened to the fans. The fans are like, the showcases events are fucking cool. It separates it from you've got your standard drag race, strip race, that sort of thing, rally race. That doesn't need covered. They do their job fine, but does everybody play these games for lap 1, lap 2, lap 3? No. I play this for discovering roads, doing my danger jumps, and showcase events. Showcase events are the tits. And to start the game with this shows that they're really going to focus on them. In Forza Horizon, the way it works is, you do so many events, you get so many fans or XP, and it allows you to open up another event across the map. So it gives you a choice in this one instead of going, here's where you're opening up. And I chose the Tullum expedition. And when you go there, Andy, this is where it became Fable to me. Like Tomb Raider, that sort of thing. Because I ended up at a place that was a temple. And it said drive around, and it was like a fixed area, like a square in the map. And if I left, it went, do you want to exit? So I stayed. It said take a photo of the gold statue. So you go up, you enter photo mode, take a photo of the gold statue. Find the jade statue. Went to the jade statue, took a photo of it. It's like now reached the top of the temple. The stairs, drove up it. And then it was like find the landing spot for the plane. And I'm like, this is something I've never done before. My apologies. So once you'd cleared that was side objectives. It's like now speak to the guy in the plane, because you went to meet a guy in the plane, and it turned it into like a showcase event. So you had to kind of race the plane to the storm. But cornering me off in this arena, taking away my open world and giving me objectives, I was like, all I could think of is imagine I was on foot. Imagine I was on foot right now. As cool as it was driving, it worked fine. It worked perfect, by the way, if you get to that or if anyone's playing it. But to me, it was just this. Imagine I was on foot and I could explore the temple when I was walking about. These guys are perfect for Fable. So I did that. I did a few more challenges that some guys in my instance or server had made, like dodged the items, jumped the jump. I done that. I bought my usual Fast and Furious cars. I downloaded my liveries, which are the Fast and Furious liveries, and I don't care if they're the fastest cars. The reason I play it is to drive about in Brian's Mitsubishi Eclipse from Fast and the Furious 1. Yes, it's still 20 years old. Who cares? I love that car. I think it still looks cool. I would drive it myself. I don't care how bright and shiny with the wave on the side it is. And yes, I'm going to get the Toyota Supra, hopefully the 93 edition, because then I can do it up exactly like the Fast and the Furious. Like, I love the Fast and the Furious cars from the original trilogy. Like, those are cool cars to me. They're like Need for Speed era, Midnight Club era, silly dragons on the side, bright neon colours, underglow LEDs with hip hop music sung by Ja Rule. That's what I want from my cars, you know. And what this game did as well was something I've never seen a racing game in my life do. I could be wrong, but I can't recall one. So after you start, I know I went a wee bit off track there, but that's as far as I've took the game. Before that, once you've done the intro, it's like, choose your car. And I'm like, here we go, man. I'll just choose, like, they always offer you a banger in these games. It's always like a Volvo or, like, not there's anything wrong with Volvos, but like, it's like a Ford Fiesta, like a small car, you know, like a starter car, like a Fiat Punto, or like a Chico Trento, you know, that's the new Fiat
A
sort of
slow
Punto.
car.
Yeah,
A
slow
slow
car,
car.
and you have to build your way up.
Yeah.
What this did was went, okay, see that cool car you just get out of? Because I finished the race in that car. I was like, this car is awesome, man. I'm going to buy this. He went, do you want this car? I went, okay, hold on, what's my other options then? He went, oh, a cool off-road Land Rover Jeep. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of off-road in here. I might need that one. And then it went, see the Toyota Supra that came out last year with the new design? I can choose it as my first car. And the game went, yes, choose that as your first car. And I'm like, I feel fucking awesome. And do you know what? That's from a guy that's played Forza from the first one on the 360 that felt that way. So see, for a new player coming in going, I don't have to have a shitty like Skoda from the 1980s to start with. I don't have to have a Ford Fiesta from the 1990s. I can have a 2020 Toyota Supra as my first car. And the game went, yeah, actually, do you know what? Even though you had to choose one, we're going to give you all those cars. All three starters are yours now. And I went, whoa. And then you get your standard, like, and that's me as a long-time Forza player. I've played every one of these games. I haven't played the main Forza Motorsport all along. I think I started Forza, the first one I played was 4, but it really had its stride in 5, the first one on the Xbox One. But, like, Forza Horizon, I was there day one. Like, not day one, but I was there from the first one. And these games, a long time, they've became something different, something no other racing game's done, something. It went from everybody was copying the Street Racer game, like Need for Speed Underground, to now everybody's going to copy Forza after this one. I guarantee it. If they didn't before, they need to now. I know the crew tried it, but it just made Assassin's Creed Racing with bad fucking physics. But these guys have got the handling down, they've got the sound down. They don't spend 7 years recording at the track like the Gran Turismo guys. They've made it fun, they've made it accessible, they've made the handling arcadey so everyone can play, except Fraser when he said earlier he was trying with a keyboard. Why would you play a driving game with a keyboard? Oh my god, like I've never heard of anything like that in my life. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's insane. You do
that's
not, you're
absolute
not driving
insanity.
with a
That's
keyboard.
like
Like,
that's like the guys that tried to finish Bloodborne on the Guitar Hero guitar. That's just stupid. Like, so
yeah,
get a
that's a
controller.
challenge. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
get
totally.
get a controller. Like, don't play a driving game with a keyboard. Like, was the anyway. Enough of my hatred for PC gaming, but like Forza Horizon 5, for me so far, is better than 4 because 4 had the good handling, it had everything that I've just mentioned. This seems to have took it and went, hold my beer, I'm going to do a bit more. I'm going to make it feel bigger. I'm going to give you more environments. I'm going to bring the beaches back that I loved in Forza Horizon 3 with Australia one. Oh, and you know that car you loved, Ali? The Lamborghini, the black and yellow one from Forza Horizon 3, the cover? Yeah, because you played that, you can now have it. Because they gave you rewards this one for playing the previous Forza Horizon games, and I'm like, I've got 5 new cars because I played them all. And then it was like, and you can have a reward for playing Forza 6, Forza 5, Forza. I was like, I've got all these cars and I haven't spent a penny. This is all on Game Pass. And then they add things like your sticker album of cars, so you can collect them and sell them, but it goes in your sticker album. That's addictive already. You get all in the set and you can unlock a brand new car. You've got your standard shop, you've got your standard races, you've got your standard Horizon Festival. It's just mind blowing, and they're like, there's now like nearly 600 roads to drive, and I'm like, I didn't manage to get them all in 4. I beat Ross. I got them all in 3. I drove all the roads in Australia, but this is a step above. This isn't like this is an insane. Is Australia bigger than Mexico in real life?
I don't know honestly, but if I had to guess, I would
I would
say
say
yes.
yes. I would say Australia's bigger because of the outback. The outback's like massive.
Yeah.
That desert there. But anyway, this feels like the biggest one I've played, and it doesn't all feel like filler. Like even if you're in the jungle, there's bits to explore, bits to find, danger signs, beauty spots, which fast travel boards. These are the things I like. Your speed traps. See if I drive through a road and it goes and it like keep your speed up as high as you can, and then it's like you get 2 stars. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back and get 3 stars for that. I'm not the biggest fan of circuit racing in this. The only time I like circuit racing in a game, Andy, is Mario Kart. Seeing this,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
Totally agree.
I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to do what you've just said there. Drive through the flags halfway off the road and find the next ones. That's what I like about Forza Horizon. It's you've got the cool cars, you can design them how you like, you can download the liveries, like I said, which is a fancy name for decals. Forza Horizon taught me the name liveries. I'd never heard it before. I thought it was something you got in a butcher's window. But anyway, Forza's handling's on point. The graphics are on point. Performance mode only. Quality mode can get to fuck. The game is beautiful, even in performance mode. The shine from the cars, the reflection from the sun, the smoke, the weather effects, like time of day. And I know we kind of had the basics of that in the Forza Horizon 4, but I mean, I would drive around a Mexican street any day rather than trying to navigate my way to Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh. Pain in the arse in real life. You can't drive all the way up there anyway in real life, but in the game you can. This feels more open than ever. Like, it really does. This is beautiful. Like, there was a lot of farmland, which is true for Britain. There was a lot of farmland in the last one. It's boring to me because that's what I drive anytime I go to my mum's, you know.
Yeah.
So, like,
You almost feel bad though, like when you're driving off road in those, because you're so used to driving on the road and using the rules here.
exactly,
You're like
mate.
you feel like you shouldn't drive off the road.
Yeah.
But like in this game, like
Like,
it feels
I'm
like you
doing it.
could.
I will say one thing for the first time. Like, I'm not a big fan of rallying. I don't hate it by any means. In this game, I've been more and more tempted, instead of to drive my high power car, to drive a rally car, like an off road one, like a Jeep. Because so much of the stuff to find is up hills, over rocks, like
Yeah.
through lava. It's there, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
yeah, I seen lava at one point last night. There's a lot more jungle and stuff, and like even in the Australian one, going through the outback and the jungles and stuff, I still kept in like my Mitsubishis, and I don't mean Shogun, I mean like Lancers, like Evolutions, Mazda RX-7s, that sort of thing. But in this one, I feel more inclined to drive the off-road ones, and I think they feel better. Really enjoying the game so far. I maybe put 3 hours into it last night, but like I said, I'm only at my second festival site. You do get an option after you get your house to open up another festival point, and I chose the Expedition, which I would highly recommend for you if you get that far, if you haven't given up already, because I'm interested to see what you say about it. But the Expedition, like every time because your next festival site's always like street race, circuit race, blah blah blah. What type of festival do you want? And I chose Expedition. Choose that if you haven't got there already, because the task list, I was like, I want to get out the car with a sword. Like this part here, like the tempo, it wasn't like mind blowing. It wasn't like a set piece from Uncharted or something. But I was like, I get it now. These guys are doing Fable, and I'm psyched. Like, I was never disappointed when they said they were doing Fable. I always knew they could do open worlds, but see, after that bit, I was like, yeah, and I've heard, I haven't got to it yet, but there's Battle Royale in this game, Andy, where it's like driving as fast as you can, and you have to get to obviously the circle, so it's like the map, and then the circle goes, it
Oh,
goes, get to this point, so you have to drive to it, and if you're not in the circle,
oh, okay.
you get blown up. And at first I heard
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Battle Royale and Forza, that sounds shit.
Hmm.
And then when it was explained, I was like, I want to play this. I want to play it now
Yeah.
because it was Snowbike Mike that was talking about it with Blessing on the Xcast, and I was like, "There's battle." I never knew there was battle royale in this, but the way Mike said that your circle gets smaller and it's like now go here,
Hmm.
and you all have to stop where
Makes
you're
sense.
going and
Yeah.
drive there. You know that's cool. That works. I want to give it a try. But anyway, for me, great. Is it game of the year? This is the year of Metroid Dread, baby. It can't be. And I'm not saying Metroid Dread is game of the year, because I've played other games. Monster Hunter Rise at the start of the year as well. Forza Horizon 5 is definitely going to be in my top 5. I'll say that right now, before I've played any more of the game. It's beautiful. It's what I wanted last year, and what I got last year was too realistic for out my front door, weather included. I don't want to drive in Scottish rain. I want to drive in tropical thunderstorms. That's my whole point with video games. It's escapism, and that's what I'll finish on. Forza Horizon 4 was not escapism for me. But to save my voice, I'll pass you over to the man with the plan, who's driven longer than me in real life, but doesn't enjoy driving games as much as me.
I do not enjoy. I do not enjoy driving games particularly. Especially racing games is what I don't enjoy. Apart from Mario Kart, Mario Kart's different. But yeah, racing games I do not particularly enjoy. Like I played Gran Turismo back in the day, and it was fun, but I enjoyed the whole aspect of getting the licenses. And then once you were doing actual races, like I
Yeah.
didn't care about it.
You
Like I
liked
like
your
that whole
achievement virtual pat in the backs.
yeah,
And I
the
forgot to add
competition part
about
of it.
that
Yeah.
in this.
Hmm.
I'll let you talk about it. I don't know how far you've got. I'll jump in. But see when certain things started popping up for me, I'm like, what's that? Oh my fuck. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking
So
about.
there seems to be a lot in that. I've seen that already. And look, to put it into context, I played maybe an hour, right? So like I've done the intro part of it, and I drove to the first like festival, and I just did that tonight after going from work before we came on the show, like after I'm at dinner and everything. Um, but yeah, I liked it so far. The graphics are amazing. You're totally right. And I would say definitely performance mode all the way over quality. I haven't tried the other one to be fair,
I
but
did.
in
Every game performance works better.
is it 30 frames a second on
Yeah.
quality? Yeah, don't
I ain't
bother.
dealing with
I
that.
won't bother. Yeah, you need 60 in a game like this. But it looks fucking amazing in performance mode. And I will say one thing for it, which is probably the biggest thing of it for me. It's got the best looking water I've ever seen in a game. Like, see when you're driving through the water, oh my god! Like the effect that your car has on the water, the way the water texture changes is unbelievable. Like, I could sit and just drive back and forward in a puddle, like in this game, and just go, oh my god! Like I can't believe how good that looks. Because they've done a fantastic job with that. But yeah, it's fun. Like I like this whole aspect of going around and just finding shit. Like, oh, you've discovered area 4 of 60. Like, okay, I need to find the other 56 areas then. Right, okay, let's go. That shit appeals to me. The like doing the race, I don't care. Like if I'm racing round in a circuit, I don't care about that at all. I think this one so far it seems to be like you're racing from point to point, which is a wee bit more interesting because if you're doing a point to point race, you can kind of cut corners and stuff like that a wee bit and like go off the beaten track and things. And I like that whole aspect. Like that's cool. Especially if you're in like a kind of off-road type buggy or whatever, like if you can cut across and beat somebody that's in like a super fast car, that's cool. I like that. But yeah, the thing that appeals to me about this game is the same thing that appeals to me about Burnout Paradise is doing like little challenges and unlocking like roads and doing billboards and like all that sort of shit. That stuff's cool, and I've not got too deep into all that yet. But I think that I could definitely play this more. And that battle royale sounds interesting. Like I knew you said it was battle royale, but I didn't know what it was. So I'll definitely check that out as well. But yeah, for a Game Pass game, like it's really good. One thing I will say about it, their character creation is fucking terrible.
It always has been, but you don't see a character. You're in the
Well,
car.
Yeah, that's true, but then why bother? Well, you do see the character because you see him in all the cutscenes. But then why would you bother even putting it in? Like, I don't get it. Like, they want to make the big thing about your guy being the star and whatever, and they've done a good job with having a bunch of names and stuff in there and all the voices done for them. So like, my guy's able to be called Andy, and I'm like, oh, not just Andrew, he's Andy, and they say my name in it like here and there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Um, well, I did not like their character customization. So Ali mentioned earlier that you can choose your gender. That's fine. And you can choose what your pronouns are. Fine as well. Like, so you can have he, him, she, her, and then they, them. Fine, no issue with that. You can have prosthetic arm, which is cool. But like, and they're going for like representation here, and I get that. But when you're making your person, you can choose from a few different bodies. They don't seem to be customizable in any way. The
Can I just say the
haircuts are
worst
very
thing,
poor.
Andy? The worst thing about it, you can't have a beard.
Can't have a beard. I was about to say that. You cannot have a beard. Like the representation of bearded people in this game is disgraceful. But I mean, like in almost every other game, I've been able to have a beard. I think it's very strange that there are no beards in this game. Like, what is that all about? Like, because I've seen people from Mexico. Some of them have beards. So, and like a lot of these people come from all over the world. There's bound to be some fucking people with beards like that are racing around in this game. So why can't I have a beard? I want to have a beard. I also can't have a mohawk, which bugged me because I like to have a mohawk and a beard in a game. But anyway, as Ali says, you don't actually see your character when you're driving. You do see them in cutscenes though, and they do have a voice. Their voice options are also like, I don't know if there was more for you. And maybe it's more dependent on which sort of body type you choose or whatever. But the guy that I chose, there was either like a man's voice or a girl's voice, and the man's voice was English. And I'm like, all right, fine, I guess that'll do. Like, if I don't like it, I can always mute it, I suppose. But anyway, gameplay wise, the gameplay is great. The driving is absolutely spot on, and Ali's totally right. The cars do feel completely different when you're driving them. The braking's great, all the acceleration's all great, all that's awesome. I do not like I don't like the vibration in the game. That's the only criticism I have of the gameplay. I might turn the vibration off because the controller vibrates fucking way too much. And that's probably a criticism that could be leveled at most racing games. But I think the vibration motors in the Xbox controller are garbage compared to the PlayStation. Like, if I compare the vibration in this game to the other most recent driving game I played, which was Destruction All Stars on the PS5, like, that fucking blows it out of the water. The vibration on the Xbox is terrible. So I'll either turn it off or I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably turn it off because I do not like it at all.
Absolutely. I just want to chime in. Absolutely fair criticism. Sorry, I was just getting ice cream and Viennetta, which is right there. If
Ice
Viennetta
cream
want
and
to,
Vietnam.
well, if Viennetta want to send us some free, we'll happily take it. Yeah. So I didn't talk about many negatives because I thought I'll jump on when Andy does. This game, more than any other game in the past year since release, has highlighted how much Xbox missed a trick with haptic feedback. If this game had haptic feedback, it would be on another level. I'm not denying the 9s and 10s it's getting because it's probably justified for them. But what I'm saying is, see, for me, this isn't the perfect racing game. This is a very good racing game. And I know it sounds minor, but Rumble's been a feature in my gaming since the PlayStation 1/N64. So they've missed a trick. They've had a year. Where's the where's the Xbox Elite 3? They need to up their game. It's a game changer. Every time I play my PlayStation, which I'll admit isn't as much as my Xbox, I'm like, oh my god, like, you fire up Demon's Souls, I keep saying it, but you fire up Demon's Souls and you play it, it's going to make me buy Harry Potter if that says it's got haptic feedback, which it will. I'll buy the shit out of that because of how the magic feels. It feels like it's going coming out your controller. I'm like, you can't take that step back. It's like, here's what the difference is. It's like playing current day Rumble, not haptic feedback, and then going back and trying a Rumble pack that goes you know what I mean?
Do you know? I do, but do you know what I would compare it to? toilet paper. So this is like comparing toilet paper. So like it's like comparing your Cushell type toilet paper,
$2.99
like
P-Spar.
that the 2.99 Spar.
It
Yeah,
does the same
it's just
thing,
like
but it's not as good.
it does the same thing, but it doesn't feel good. Like,
So, I wouldn't do that. I would say your N64 Rumble Pack compared to your Xbox One.
well, a lot of people won't have done that. Like everyone can relate to toilet paper. You got good toilet paper, and you've got just basic toilet paper. And that's what it is. Like good Rumble on PS5 and basic Rumble on Xbox. That's the easiest comparison I can make. They need to. You're totally right. They need to do something about that because it lets the game. It lets this
And
game specifically lets it down because there's a lot of like.
Here's what I'll say. They don't need to just do an Elite 3. They need to revise the controller at this point. They
The
need
existing
to,
controller yet.
they need to do a standard £60 normal controller. They
Yep.
do it in the Elite first. I'll give them that. Next year, release the Elite. See if they've not done it by summer. They're fucking they're at it because they need to get the Elite out, and then at the end of the year, they need to go. Here's a standard controller with haptics.
Yep, I totally agree, and I think they will do that. The other thing with that is Xbox has formed for this before with controllers because
Yeah.
they launched the Xbox One controller without
the
a
Duke.
3.5mm stereo jack, and no, the Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
They launched it without the stereo jack. It had that weird, like, and you had to buy a weird adapter to use your normal sort of headphones with it. And then the first revision they did of the controller was to put a 3.5mm jack in it. So
yeah,
they can 100% do a new controller for 2022 with haptics in it.
Because
definitely.
PlayStation nailed it out the gate with that forced feedback.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so good. They don't even need the adaptive triggers. Just they need haptic rumble, because haptics, it simulates how it, if you've not used it, instead of just a rumble, a general rumble like light or hard, which is HD rumble that we're using now. It's either light or hard, and it works to a point. What haptic does is it produces a vibration. It can produce subtle, and it's. Do you know what it is, Andy? It's going from SCART to 4K. That's it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The picture quality difference in SCART to 4K. It's the same picture, but it's a big difference. So HD Rumble kind of emulates what's happening. Haptic actually fine tunes it so that you can feel as if like there's. It's weird. You can feel like grains. You can feel like actual bumps rather than just.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Like 100% agree, and like the way that they do it in some of those games, like with the running and the rain and stuff, and even in that Destruction All Stars,
is amazing.
Tunnel's Rain is cool, yeah. But like even in that Destruction All Stars, which like the game wasn't a good game, but like they had
so
the vibration. They had the vibration down. And, like,
Yeah.
see if you just took the vibration from that game, chucked it in this game, like,
Perfect.
oh my god, like it would feel like even better.
'Cause
But, like, it's still a good game.
Because
Still a good game though.
Your adaptive triggers are like the triggers like locking up or becoming stiffer when like an athlete gets tired, or a gun locks up, you can't click it down. I don't think that's necessary, but the haptic feedback is 100% necessary in the current gen of gaming. Xbox need to do it, and this game it's not the game's fault because it's been held back by the console it's out on. Not graphically, but that. Sorry, but anyway, that's a big thing to me, and as everybody knows, it's watched long term. I'm a big fan of haptics. I know Andy is as well, but it's a game changer. It's like 60 FPS is current gen, but so is haptics.
Thing is, like, you're not going to notice it at all unless you've played a PS5. So
No.
if you've only got an Xbox and you play Forza, you're going to go, what the fuck is he talking about? But the second you pick up a PS5 or get a shot of one and play like any game that uses haptic feedback, you're going to go, oh, right, okay, amazing.
What I would say is play Astrobot's Playroom and Demon Souls. Fire on Returnal if it's sitting there and just let the rain. It feels like it's raining inside your controller.
Yeah, which is awesome. And like I can just... You could just imagine though, like what they would do with that in Forza, like with all the bumps and rumbles and like driving through the water and everything. Like, and you're like, oh, like because when you drive through the water, like the water just a bit of it splashes up on the screen and then it goes away. Like, it looks so fucking cool, and I'm like, I wish it felt as cool as it looked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far I'm liking it. I'm going to play more. So there's
That's a
that.
good sign for a racing game for you.
Yeah, and not just to drive to Edinburgh and drive around Edinburgh and be like, oh yeah, I used to go there. Yeah, I
The
used to go
fact
there.
that you compared it to your favourite racing game ever,
I didn't compare
Burnout
it to Sonic R.
Paradise.
I did not
What?
compare it to Sonic R.
No, car racing game, Burnout Paradise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably my favorite car racing game. Like that game. Like I loved just driving about in that game and smashing the billboards and that. So, I'll try and do that in this game and see how I get on.
We should do some co-op.
Yeah, definitely. I'll
you're
definitely
on.
be up for doing a bit.
While we're here, Andy, because we're probably not going to do a show on Friday, I thought we could cover the charts for this week. If you fancied, if you don't, then it's fine. I mean, you can't speak back to
Sure.
me. It's a two-way conversation.
So I don't have the chart up, but I can get it.
I've got it right here. I've just sent it to you. I'm on
Oh.
form. I've sent it to you,
He's
not
on
the
form.
news.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the charts this week. Is Forza in the chart? That is the question.
No, because it wasn't done when Forza was out.
Well, last week it was. Because the thingy one came out. Anyway, the top 10 chart for last week was number 10, Far Cry 6, dropping down quite a bit actually from number 4. Number 9, Fortnite Minty Legends pack. What? Okay, sure. Number 8, Minecraft on Switch still. Number 7, Animal Crossing New Horizons still. Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's dropped down from number 2. It's not a huge drop. It's still in there. So it's obviously still getting like a buzz off of the positive views and whatnot. So that's good. Number 5 is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 4 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 3 is Mario Party Superstars. Number 2, FIFA 2022. And number 1, can you guess what number 1 is? He's not guessing, but it's Call of Duty Vanguard is number 1. Oh, he's not even there. Call of Duty Vanguard is number 1, unsurprisingly.
Sorry.
Are you
That's what I was
shocked
gonna
by
guess.
Call of Duty Vanguard being number 1?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Oh, okay. I'm not. Like, it's Call of
So-
Duty. It's going to be number 1.
Well, here's the thing. I always say every year, as you know, not getting Call of Duty. What have I done every year, Andy?
Bought Call of Duty Day 1, basically.
This year, though, it's World War II. I'm getting a 10-hour trial of Battlefield, which I'll use first before I buy it. And I'm getting Halo for free on Game Pass. I don't have a need for Call of Duty.
No,
Sorry.
absolutely not.
If I want to
And if
sample
you
it, do you know
really-
what? Warzone. It's free.
Warzone, yep, 100%. The thing is, like, I think day 1, yeah, this was always going to be number 1, but I think it'll be really interesting to see where it is in the chart next week.
For Christmas, I think it'll be interesting. What's the highest ranked shooter? It's going to be Halo.
Mhm.
I guarantee it's Halo.
See, I don't think it is Halo. I think because Halo's got free-to-play multiplayer and it's going to be in Game Pass, Halo's not going to be in there. It's going to be Battlefield.
You think?
Battlefield is going to be the number 1 shooter this year. Yeah, because Battlefield has variety. Call of Duty, like, fair enough, Warzone has some variety, but like Vanguard is, as you say, a World War II game. Battlefield is the new shiny. Like, people
Which
have played a
has-
bunch of World War II games.
If you want World War II and you like Battlefield, people can make World War II and World War One maps. I guarantee you within the
Yeah.
first year, someone has recreated all the maps from Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5
Yep.
in this game.
I think some of them are going to be in there day 1 as well. So, but the other ones will come within the first year. Yeah, I can't wait to play Battlefield. Like, I'm really excited to play it. But the other ones, the other kind of surprising ones in there was Spider-Man Miles Morales. It jumped from 17th in the chart to number 5,
Sale.
which is maybe a sale or maybe more PS5s getting out there because Game had drops this week. So did Argos. I think it was PC World. So there's a lot. But yeah, Call of Duty Vanguard, that's going to move off number one next week. I almost guarantee it. FIFA
No, I
will
mean,
go back to number one next week.
why don't you want Vanguard when I know fine well you got Call of Duty World War Two? That was the one I was out on. You and Fraser played World War Two.
I played a little bit of World War Two, and I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. I tried the multiplayer, found it too slow, and I tried the single player. I didn't like the story that they were telling in it. I haven't bought the last three, well, including this one, the last three. So I didn't buy Black Ops Cold War. Didn't like the look of it. Didn't buy Modern Warfare 2019. Didn't like the look of it. So the last one I bought was that World War II one. And I don't even think I bought that even near launch. Like I tried I bought Black Ops 4 because you and Fraser were excited about it. I got that kind of like
It
first
was
weekend,
great.
and that was great. Like had a great time with that. But the other ones, like since then, no interest whatsoever. But this year, Battlefield's my boy. And I'll try Halo because it's on Game Pass. But I played Warzone. Like I don't have it installed right now.
I don't think the
It's
map's
alright.
as good as Black Ops 4. I love the Black Ops 4 map because we had our spot when you were going. Me and you were still playing it when all the other guys had gave up because we tried to
Yeah.
get the snowballs, remember?
Yeah, I like that one, but Warzone is fine. Like to be fair, I prefer watching other people playing it now to actually playing it myself because I'm not very good at it. So like I die so quickly in it that it's not a whole lot of fun unless I'm playing with a bunch of other people. But like, but now and again, I'll watch people playing it.
Do you
and,
know
like,
why it's not
to
fun?
watch people that are good playing.
Cross-play with PC gamers, that's why.
Yeah, because of crossplay. Yeah.
If you're good
Battlefield,
with
I
a
don't
mouse,
mind
you're better
so
than a
much.
guy good with a controller. Even though I don't
Yeah.
like using a mouse.
Yeah. Battlefield I don't mind so much that it's going to be that because like it's the die and respawn sort of whole thing and it's kind of teamwork to capture your flags and all that sort of shit. So
A couple more news stories I've
Yeah.
just sent. We'll do that. Wrap it up.
you sent me more news. How dare you? Okay. Skyward Sword on Switch has already matched its lifetime sales on the Wii. That's probably because it came out really late on in the Wii's life cycle, where most people would
did.
stop playing the Wii.
But it wasn't. The Wii wasn't dead by that point because it was
wasn't
one
dead,
of the.
no.
It was one of the Motion Plus games. Remember, had to have
Like
it.
I never got Skyward Sword on the Wii. I think
I
for me
did.
it came out after I'd really stopped playing the Wii. Because PS3 would have been long out by then.
Yeah, I was still playing the Wii.
Yeah, I'd have been well into PS3. And I definitely wasn't playing Wii anymore.
It's a good game. I
Um,
need to go back to it.
I don't. It looks decent after I watched it with a decent screen.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But I'm not really like enamored to go out and buy it. I'm not craving a Zelda game right now. Maybe next year I'll crave a Zelda game, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just wait for Breath of the Wild.
There you are.
A hacking group has claimed that they have managed to make a PS5 hack.
Yeah.
So that'll be patched out in the next firmware update. So fine. But I suppose if you want to hack it, like you could somehow. I don't know what you could do with it if you hack it, but you can maybe put emulators on it or something.
Play PlayStation 3 games.
Yeah, emulate PS3 games or GameCube games or something like. Or play Doom on it. Like
You can play N64 games on the Series X through the browser now.
yeah. Do you know what? There's like on the PS5 and on the Series X. Like, there's so many games that why would you ever need to do anything like that? Why would you ever need to hack it? You get so many games for free and cheap that like there's plenty of variety out there. Don't steal the games unless they're no longer made. If there's a way to pay for them, then you should pay for them. If they don't make them anymore, then fair enough. Rip them. download
I'm
them,
sorry,
whatever.
but see if the company's not active anymore and your choice is second hand, the company's not getting money.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Don't steal PS5 games or Series X games or anything like that. No.
Yeah. Okay, eFootball 2022 had its big patch delayed, so it was supposed to come out in November.
Oh, it's delayed,
Been
Andy.
pushed now into 2022, and they also cancelled their cancelled and issued refunds for the $32.99 pack, which no one was quite sure what it was going to do because it didn't. You weren't able to use it until November, but they delayed it this patch, so you can't use it. So that's gone.
This seems like it's going swell. I bet they're glad.
Yeah.
I bet they're glad they didn't use the Pez name, because now they can go back to Pez. I would just set this on fire and go, let's take a year out, make Pez again, and just call it Pez.
I think that next year they should just make Pez, right? But I think that this can still exist and Pez at the same time, right? If you just make this online only like type stuff, like because they did it with like they did
This is your
Pez
Warzone.
Live
This
or
is your Call
whatever.
of Duty Warzone.
Yeah,
It's separate from COD.
yeah. Yep. Don't put Master League in this or anything like. Just put it
Online
as like
free.
online eFootball stuff, and then make the normal game and
And
just
then
take all that shit out of it.
and then you've not
Fine.
lost any bad press. You're working out your online game. You've
Yeah.
not tarnished the Pez name.
Yep.
But it's
So that's fine.
Konami.
And like,
They're the guys that fucked off Kojima.
yeah, and but in Pez, you could easily put like things in where you could earn like some of the currency from doing various things, and that encourages you to go and play the game where you might put more money into it. You could do that sort of thing, like have a synergy between the two games.
Oh, people will
But-
play a free-to-play game that's up to date. 100%.
Yeah, but you need to separate this, like because this is not
Pez.
this is not something that people will play. Thing is, like it got buzz when it first came out, and they would have seen that and seen the download numbers and yes, look at these fucking downloads, and then they would have seen all the shit online, like YouTube videos and Twitter.
It's because
posts and
what
all
they
that.
showed us and what
Like,
they released was two different things.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like almost all the press that they got was negative because it was really bad and really ham-fisted at launch. So yeah, they did a bad job, and people recognised that. And I would bet you now that the player base is 5% of what it was at launch
Less.
because loads of people downloaded it, loads of people played it, and then went, "Oh, like either I hate this, I'll never play it again, or I'm just gonna wait until they patch it before I play this again." Because
But
it was,
I think the smartest thing they did was taking the Pez name off of it, because if they'd called this Pez, they'd fucked a brand name by doing this.
yeah, that's a fair point, yeah. Okay, and then finally, Take-Two's bookings have grown 3%. What? To bookings? What does that mean?
Read the news story.
I don't know what that bookings means. Basically, they're making more money. They have now sold 155 million copies of GTA 5.
That was the point.
155 million copies of GTA 5,
do you know-
and it wasn't on the Wii, and it
No.
wasn't on the Wii U, and it's
you-
not on the Switch.
Do you know what the craziest thing about that is, Andy? Last quarter of this year, the last quarter, they sold 5 million units of GTA 5. 5 million more. Now, this is a game that by, I would imagine, spring next year, because they've already announced it and stuff, they're doing a new version, and people are aware of this, and they're still buying the original version. This isn't second-hand sales. This isn't digital sales. These are physical copies. They've sold 5 million units in the last quarter of this year. This game came out almost 10 years ago now, Andy, and they're still selling the last gen version. 5 million units of the last gen version. How?
Insane.
It's a great
So
game. It's a great game.
New people turn 18 every day, that's what it is.
5 million though. If it was me at that age and I hadn't played this, I'd be like cyberpunking it just now. I'd be like, I'm waiting for the next gen version. It's out at the start of next year. I'll just buy that one. But 5 million just in a quarter, Andy. In a quarter, that's 3 months.
Crazy number, man.
That's like
Absolutely crazy.
that's like 1.5 million a month.
Yeah.
Over 1.5 million a month in the last quarter for a game that came out in 2013. And people are like, where's GTA 6? Rockstar are just like, what? This game
would-
in the last
why would
quarter has
Rockstar-
outsold
Yeah.
Metroid Dread already. Like, and it's the
Well,
last
yeah,
gen
why
version.
why would Rockstar ever make...
GTA 6,
new-
they have no need.
They don't have any need.
I think they will. I'm not taking that away, but I think they're in no rush. They have no need. Their sales are 5 million a quarter in 2021, and it came out in 2013. Even this version of the game came out 3 years ago, Andy.
Think of the amount of money they must be making off this, because their dev costs are...
That's
like,
not
all-
including their credit for the
gone.
online.
Yeah, they're all that's long gone, and like they're using this money to support the online, and the online is easily supporting itself. So they're making money off the online, and they've probably got a team on that. But like the people just buying the base game, they're not updating the base game anymore right now. Like they're doing the next gen version of it, fine. But like this is crazy money. Like the profit in this is insane in
Well,
this one product.
Rockstar Grand Theft Auto games are notoriously high sellers, as you know, Andy. But the thing is that these these guys, like when you read up, it's not just the highest selling game of all time. It is the highest selling multimedia product. This is including, Andy, albums. This is including books. This is including TV, movies. This is the highest selling of all time.
So it's the highest grossing media product of all time.
It's the same sentence
The-
unless you're a wanker.
Well, no, because technically, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the second best selling game of all time in terms of units. In terms of dollar value, it is the highest.
That's what I mean. High selling. It sold for money. It didn't sell for units.
Well, best selling, you would tend to say like it sold the most copies, but Minecraft actually sold more copies than Grand Theft Auto 5 by quite a lot.
That's insane. That's insane though. Even that it's that close. But as far as I know, it's the highest grossing multimedia. I think it's sold more than
Yes.
books, movies, everything.
Yeah, it's made more than like any of the Avengers movies. It's made more than Avatar.
That sentence that you just said is insane. Not Avatar, but Avengers. That's insane. That it's outsold like Infinity War. It's outsold like Iron Man 2. It's outsold Spider Man. Like what? This came out like almost 10 years ago. It's 8 years old. It's still selling. People bought 5 million copies of it, brand new. This isn't counting. I really wish, Andy, that there was a tracker on second-hand copies as well, because I know second-hand copies of it still sell.
Yep.
I know digital copies still sell. It's insane what this game's doing, and it's a shame though, because the board, seeing these figures, Andy, right? Imagine the board meeting for the end of the year. Imagine it was last month. It's like, right, we're seeing folk online talking about the fat cats who have bellies that size. They're like, we've seen people talking online about Grand Theft Auto 6. What's happening? And then Rockstar just turn around and go, we sold fucking 5 million of an update that we did 5 years ago for a almost 10-year-old game. And they went, oh, fuck spending more money on that then. Keep it up. Just keep adding shadows and cats and alleyways.
Good job, fellows. Good job.
But I know we laugh, but that's happened at some point. That's something like that. The fat cats who invest in these companies, what are you doing about the next product? And they're like, there's our figures, mate, for the current one. And they're like, oh, okay. Keep on with online. Good work. Like, I just can't figure it out, Andy. I can't figure it out.
I don't doubt that they're making GTA 6, right?
But they're in no rush. They're in no rush to release it at all.
No, absolutely no rush at all. Like they can keep just making it and making it and making it like the best thing it can ever be. Like until such time as GTA stops selling, and that's what they'll do. They've got the whole GTA team, like the Red Dead team or whatever. They'll have moved over to GTA now, and they'll be working
online,
on
keeping server smooth, doing things.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's always been a team doing that, but like there'll be a full team working on GTA 6 now. But they've probably been working on it for 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 years.
Andy, possibly 8 years. Remember, Grand
Theft
Theft Auto 5 released 8 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously did Red Dead as well, which a lot of the team would be working on that too. But they'll be working on GTA 6 100%, and they'll just be waiting until this stops selling to like release it. And they'll be like, cool. As soon as it stops selling, they'll be like, right, cool. 6 months, GTA 6, good to go. Yeah, bang, done. No issue.
Here's my theory.
Will announce and release in the same year. I'm telling you that right now.
You want a theory?
Go for it.
GTA 6 won't have GTA Online.
Are you going to be separate, like free to play?
No. They'll keep GTA Online as it is. They're just going to keep it going. They're going to update it for next gen soon. What they'll do is like what Call of Duty
going.
does with Warzone. They'll just keep it going. They'll change the map potentially, but they've done that in Warzone. They'll change the map to, like, say they move it to Vice City, which is the rumours for GTA 6, which I hope it is. Vice City's amazing. I think GTA 6 releases campaign only, which is fine. And GTA Online becomes, like you said, completely separate, and it just keeps going. I think that's the way of making money. Is because there's like, I would say at least 30% of the fan base, like me and you, it's like GTA Online's cool and all, but can I have some more of that story that you just gave me, please? Like, your stories are always, they always slap. Like, Vice City was Scarface, San Andreas was like Boys in the Hood, Friday, GTA 3 was like a gangster film, GTA 5 was, I don't know what I'd compare it to, it was really good. GTA 4, like, they're all like cinematic experiences. I want more of that, please. Like, when I heard about the GTA remakes that are out on Thursday, I was like, nope, I don't need to play these games again. The minute I was starting to get excited by them for some reason, and I just get this niggly feeling they're Rockstar. They're not just going to just polish them again because they've already did it for mobile. And when we seen that they'd actually remade the games completely on Unity, or was it Unreal? I think it was Unity. I can't. Anyway, they've moved it off of Rage, which was the Rockstar engine, and they've moved it on to current gen. They've gave it GTA 5 controls. They've kept the original look, but completely made it look fine now. Because I was playing it earlier, it does not look fine. It is blurry. It hurts your eyes, and this is. Oh, but you can use a modern PC. I'm playing it how it was originally intended to be played on the PlayStation, which is where it first came out. San Andreas, I'm talking about. It may have come out, but it was on PlayStation before Xbox. Like, Xbox, I'm pretty sure didn't get GTA 3 day one. I'm pretty sure it didn't get Vice City day one either. San Andreas, I might be wrong, but San Andreas looks ass. It's still nostalgic for me to play it, but the controls are horrible. You shoot by pushing R1 to lock on and circle to shoot. Go away with that. You drive with X. You reverse with square. Like, go away. I need my right triggers. They've told us all 3 games have been given GTA 5 controls.
Okay, cool.
We've seen what the games now look like. They look acceptable in this day and age. They've been given almost a timeless look. Like, they've given them, and I know it's cartoony and some folk might not appreciate it, but that's the only way they could have went, because making them fully realistic like GTA 5, well, more realistic, would have been years and years and years and years of work. Making them cartoony is keeping the way they used to look. Give them GTA 5 controls is bringing them up to date. Adding things like a mini map, like back when GTA 3 came out, you didn't have a mini map. You could pause, go, oh, okay, like Metroid Dread. Do you know what I mean? It was like, there it's there. But Andy, the difference even between Metroid Dread is you couldn't set a waypoint. It wouldn't show you. It was just, okay, I need to go here. You had to memorise streets, which was cool at the time, but see now it's like, nah, I ain't played that. Yeah. So I think what they've done is perfect. And the rumours that I seen today, just to finish up the last news there, GTA 4 2023 remake.
Like a remake?
Mm-hmm.
No, don't do it.
Do you know why it would make sense? Because that's all the 3D games. And it's killing the time between GTA 6. Like you said, there's no rush. Because next year's GTA 5 next gen. And if they do GTA 4 remake the year after, that gives them plenty of time. Why rush a Grand Theft Auto game? They're not going to. Have you ever heard a Grand Theft Auto game releasing ever and people criticising it and saying no? I watched a documentary on Grand Theft Auto on YouTube the other night, Andy, and do you know what Rockstar were doing? Paying press to give them bad reviews to try and get more people buying their game. By Vice City, they were paying the press to give them bad reviews or to say silly things about it.
Yeah, the only people that I saw see bad things about GTA was like the hot stuff back in the day.
Yeah, it was Hillary Clinton who tried to ban it, and they had to bring out a patched version of GTA on the PlayStation 2 that removed it. But you couldn't access it without a Game Shark. You couldn't naturally activate Hot Coffee. It was leftover code from dev. Like, they took it out before it released. But I've got a question for it.
The only thing I've ever seen people like be negative about with GTA is like the violent video games. People that hate violent video games, they hate it.
The biggest problem with GTA... Right, I've got a question for you that relates to GTA in a minute, right? And that finishes up for tonight. Unless you've got other things to talk about, then I'm here all night and I'm off tomorrow. But like, so GTA, the biggest problem I have with the Definitive Edition is I'm finding it hard enough to try and finish off the Ballad of Gay Tony and Lost in the Damned, which I never finished back in the day, even though I had them. I've got them digital, I've just never finished them. And apparently Ballad of Gay Tony is amazing. Is the handling and the physics in that is ass. And if they've now made the original trilogy up-to-date graphic, well, they've kept the same style, but up-to-date graphics, up-to-date handling, up-to-date physics, up-to-date controls, how will I ever finish GTA 4 unless they re-release it?
Yeah,
How?
I mean, you're not going to unless they really release it. But they could do GTA 4 plus
Don't
those
get me
two games.
Yeah, but
Because they were spin-offs of GTA 4.
they weren't games, they were DLC. They became games down the line, years down the line.
Aye.
But see,
But you
initially,
could do a GTA 4 complete and like put them together.
yeah, absolutely right. And I think that would be a good plan because then they remaster it and they go, "That's us done." That's what they're doing with this trilogy, because they want them all on next gen. So, don't get me wrong, I've completed GTA 3, I've completed Vice City, I've completed San Andreas, I've completed GTA 4, I've finished GTA 5. I never ever finished the Ballad of Gay Tony and Lost and Damned, and see, because when you fire them up, it's as if it's his own game. I feel like there's two Grand Theft Auto games I've not finished, but I keep trying to chip away at them, and then I keep going, these don't handle how they should. They're kind of like halfway between classic controls, which are acceptable because you understand the game you're playing, it's a PS2 game, and halfway between like GTA 5. So they need to do something, right? So that's not my question. My question with Grand Theft Auto is, so, and this isn't a bad thing, so if we get hate flamed, then blame me. But if we've not been hate flamed by now, then we're not going to. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That is the title of this segment. But GTA, when it came out, even GTA 1 and 2, even though they're completely different games from what they've became, there were always controversy. They always didn't give a fuck. They were almost like the South Park of video games. They said whatever they wanted. They offended whoever they wanted. They ridiculed whoever they wanted. They made parodies of whoever they wanted. They did controversial things. That was what they were known for. Even up to GTA 5. So, I 100% support what they've done. There's a character in the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, right? Because there's a storyline, believe it or not. Like, seeing GTA 3, the protagonist in that, he shows up in San Andreas. There's mentions of Tommy Vercetti. Like, they're all linked. They're the same universe. Those three games are the same universe. GTA 4 and 5 are the same universe because there's characters that cross over. Like, Gay Tony is in GTA 5. He's the nightclub guy, but he's retired. He's moved away from Liberty City. The cities are all interconnected. Like, see Grand Theft Auto 1, the map was Liberty City, Vice City, and San Andreas. That was your map. And they just made them bigger and bigger and bigger and became their own things. So, with that said, back to the controversy, GTA 5 was Grand Theft Auto was always the, oh, you shouldn't be playing that video game. It was the beat up hookers, like, Daily Mail favourite. Your kid shouldn't be playing this or they'll turn into Devil's game. They've removed missions from Vice City, featuring Haitians.
Do you know what?
Haitians, yeah, because of racial connotations, right? They've removed also the Confederate flag from Phil Cassidy, and they've made it a skull, right? Not that it was character defining, so I fully support it. So with this in mind, and with GTA 6 on the potential future horizon, like I wouldn't even say the sun's set on GTA 5 yet. How do you think they approach GTA 6 when they're clearly going to play more into we don't want to offend? I'm not saying they don't want to offend everybody, but how are they going to make a game that was known to be offensive to certain people, or you can't say that sort of thing? How are they going to get around that now that they've been taking away some things? And I'm not meaning it as in keeping the Confederate flag would be risky, but it's almost as if they've took it out because they don't want that backlash, where it's now like GTA wanted all the smoke. They wanted Hillary Clinton trying to ban video games for the country, and now it's almost as if they became a bit more conservative. So with that in mind, again, like I said at the start, I don't see it a bad thing. Confederate flag shouldn't even been the first game. It shouldn't even been a fucking thing that was allowed. Do you know what I mean? It's as bad as the Nazi flag in my opinion. But like again, it's still an art form. I'm not excusing anything like that. I'm not meaning they need to start using bad words for people. I don't mean they need to be racist. I don't mean to be. Is this Grand Theft Auto conforming to a place of political correctness that is going to change the full identity of the game? You understand the question that I'm asking, even though I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
asking a
yeah.
question. So I want
Yeah.
you to think about what I've just said, because for me, I don't have an answer. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it. I don't think it needs to be the fuck you this, fuck you that, but is I don't want to offend people by what I say at all. At all. I want everybody to be happy playing games. But Grand Theft Auto was known to push buttons. It was known to go, I don't give a shit what's going on in the news. We're not doing this to be racist. We're not doing this to offend people. We're just making a fucking game and here it is, like it or lump it. Same with South Park. They're not racist guys. They're not out to offend people. They're just out to go, look at the state of you, pal. And I like that about companies who have got the balls. How is Grand Theft Auto 6 going to be more conservative? And I don't mean the Tory party. I just mean in general the word conservative. Is it going to be more withdrawn? Is it going to tread carefully? Like Grand Theft Auto is the sort of game to like make a fool of every new thing. Like if somebody identifies as a lamp, they're going to have that in their game at some point and criticize it, you know. But with this in mind, what they've just done for the remakes, re-release, whatever it is coming out on Thursday, how do you see it going forward? Like, are they going to come a straight up action game? Is it going to make it too boring? Like they're going to have some clever writing to move away from the controversy that they used to love. Sorry.
I think that I think that most of the stuff that people were up in arms about was the stuff that the player had the option to do.
Like being
It
up
tended to
prostitutes.
be it tended to be in the storylines that I mean there was some controversial stuff in the storylines, but most of the stuff that people were mad about was like that you could just go and run over random pedestrians and like hire hookers and then kill them and take your money back, like that sort of shit. And there was there was a material benefit to you doing that, obviously, and like if the
Yeah,
police
you
didn't
get
see
money.
you, you just got away with it. Like, and yeah, you got free like gratification in the game. Or like, it doesn't give you anything,
Well,
um,
you can
but
buy
yeah,
stuff.
I think it was more. I think it was more. Yeah, you can buy stuff. I think it was more of that sort of stuff that was the controversial stuff. With these Confederate flag and stuff like that, like I'm not on board with them having it in the game in the first place. Like, I didn't even know it was in the game. Like, I never played San Andreas, and it won't affect me at all it not being there.
Again, this is a
But
side character that's kind of the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
you get
totally,
guns from. So it made sense
yeah,
at the
totally.
time. But
Hmm.
my point of my I think that's off the beaten track of they've took it away now that more people are coming out being offended by it, but there was going to be
Yeah,
the same connotations when they released it with certain people. So this is what I mean. Do you
yeah,
see
yeah.
this company conforming to guidelines, and is it going to change the identity of GTA 6? That's the question.
I I don't think it will change the identity at all. I think it'll be absolutely fine. It might tweak their story writing process a tiny bit and their character creation process a tiny bit, but I don't think it'll really affect them. They'll just be mindful of it more than anything. But I mean, if they want to tell like a story that involves racism and whatnot, like they'll put it in, 100%. And I guarantee you, they'll have racism elements in there, and like you can totally do that and make a great game and a great story, and without it being offensive to people, like because it exists, like and if you're making a realistic type game with like these type of protagonists, then it's
But
gonna
that's
it's
my
gonna have an
point.
effect.
That's my point. It exists, and they're making
Yeah.
art. I don't care what folks say. This is art, and they've
Yep.
took out an element of their original art to try and be less offensive. So how much is that going to affect them going forward? Is like, I know you're saying you can do that. I'm not meaning them to make a game where every second word is the N word or worse or like slurs or anything. I just mean like I'm not saying the flag shouldn't have been there in the first place. And
Mm.
this is my whole point. I'm not targeting Rockstar. It's not 42 level 1 attacks Rockstar, and the flag if they felt this way truly, it shouldn't have been there in the first place because they knew the connotations of that flag even back then. So why take it out now because it's a hot topic? Like,
I think the thing is, like, people, like, back then, like, how long ago did this game come out? Like, 15 years ago? Something like
yeah,
that?
something like that, 10, 15 years ago
Yeah,
for
10, 15 years ago. So, like, 10, 15 years ago, I couldn't have told you what the Confederate flag was about. I don't know if you could
I
have,
could
but, like,
have. Yeah,
I couldn't have told you.
absolutely. I was
If
21,
someone
of
showed
course.
me that, yeah, so but if someone showed me that flag, I wouldn't know what it is. I'd be like, "Oh, it's some American thing, like, people fly it sometimes." But I wouldn't know the connotations of it. I wouldn't know what it meant, anything about it. Like, so me seeing that in the game originally, I wouldn't think twice about it. But seeing it now, you're like, "Oh, like, that's a fucking issue," because people are like, the world is much more connected than what it was back then. So, like,
To a
everybody knows
point.
about all that shit.
It's not like I'm
Yeah,
talking about the
everybody
80s. It's to a point more connected.
to a point, yeah, but, like,
The issues have been around for hundreds of years at this point.
They have, but people are more aware of shit now, and like when something blows up, it blows up bigger and bigger and
Yeah,
bigger and worldwide as well.
so
So like
that's what I
American issues
mean.
become worldwide issues.
This
So
could potentially be the most cotton wool. I'm not saying release. I'm agreeing with what they did. It's very difficult to have these conversations without somebody saying, "Oh, he's agreeing with that." He's agreeing. I'm not. I'm saying it shouldn't have been there in the first place. But I'm not attacking Rockstar. What my comment is based on: is this going to be the most cotton wool rap Grand Theft Auto we've seen? Is there a way to take this to still be edgy, satire based, like without being a dick? And the only thing that I can think of that is timeless classic and is not offensive in that way is a certain British comedy called Red Dwarf, which has lasted the test of time. It's been
yeah,
edgy, it's been at times satire, and it's lasted. South Park just goes, fuck everybody, I don't care, I'm going to say what I want. Grand Theft Auto still needs to toe that line. It can't just become standard action game. It has to still have this pop culture relevance, and it has to still take the piss out of society today. But the problem is that everything you say these days offends someone, and everybody's got a voice these days that gets heard. And you could say the wrong thing 10 years ago and lose your job these days. That's the world we live in now. So this is the problem that I think GTA 6 has taken so long, partly not just because of GTA 5, but because of, they're like, can we say that? Every line of dialogue, more or less, that's a joke is going to have to be run through several focus groups to be approved.
yeah.
Whereas before they'd have been like, fuck it, put it in. It's funny. And I
The
think,
problem,
I don't
you're
want
probably
anyone
right.
to
I
be
don't think
offended,
that's
but certain people need to realise at some point comedy isn't racist. Comedy doesn't need to be racist if it contains racial comedy, if you know what I mean. Like, not every comedian that says funny things about another. Observational comedy is about what you see and observe, and it's a funny observation if it's true. If the comedian's being a dick and just making a foot, there's a difference between a comedian though and a bully, if you know what I mean. You can be a,
yeah.
but you can't have. But that's the problem these days. There's no line that can be drawn there. Like, you could say a joke about English people as a famous comedian, and then they're like, "We fucking hate you. You can't come to England," right? But well, that's not racist.
That's
That's in
fine by me.
but
That's
that's
fine
fine
by
by me. But like, you know, that's not the point I'm making. This I'm trying to find the right words. If a comedian says a joke about, say, like a gay person these days, and they're not gay themselves, they'll be labelled as homophobic by the
yeah.
public. Whereas it might not be that guy's homophobic, he might have just thought of something funny that works in the context of being gay or knowing someone gay or knowing someone from a different ethnicity. I've got a big problem these days, and it's not my problem, it's just I hate people deciding that everything's about them. That, oh, he's targeting me because I'm Scottish, I shave my head, I've got eyebrows, like you've personally targeted me. Whereas it's not that. There's a difference between someone being aggressive in your face, blah blah, and there's a difference between harassment and targeted bullying and someone that generally has these hatred feelings. I'm not saying these people don't exist, but sometimes people have to realise that sometimes it's just funny. Like, and you do see sometimes in these big threads where they're trying to cancel people, it's like, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, and then there's one person saying, look, I'm like XYZ, I'm related to this joke because I'm French, I'm related to this joke because I'm gay, I'm related to this joke because I'm a man or a woman, and it's like, and I don't take offence to it, and it's like, people are so uptight these days, not in a good way. I'm not saying bully anyone, I'm saying that's shit. And I'm not saying being offensive, I'm not saying be racist, but I'm saying sometimes it's okay to sit back and laugh at yourself and not feel targeted. But these days it seems like everyone has to paint a bullseye in their forehead and say that that's me he's talking about, and he shouldn't have a job. He shouldn't be doing this. And this is separate from Harvey Weinstein shit and everything. I'm just talking about comedy in general, because Grand Theft Auto is a comedy game. It's a form of entertainment.
Right, yeah.
And like, I get like banning cigarettes from movies. I get like banning bad habits from most movies. And I'm not saying cigarettes are banned from movies, but how many cigarettes do you see stars smoking these days compared to when we were growing up? You don't.
Almost none. And do you know what? Like, it's unrealistic because they should be vaping now. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen someone vape in a movie?
Nope.
Exactly. Never. Like, everyone vapes. So, like, where's the vape?
but that's not my point. The point is that it's people feel a sense of having to justify their existence these days, and it's fine to feel that way, but you've got to understand that sometimes it's okay to have a joke and a laugh and enjoy life. And I'm not saying I enjoy every day of my life. Like, I'm realistic, like some days suck. But see, if I'm having a laugh and a joke and it's without hatred, without prejudice, which is most of my speech, you've known me long enough that I don't generally, unless you're English. Sorry. But, that's terrible to say because that's completely untrue. But, like, there's a way to have a laugh and a joke. And there's certain people that are just sitting waiting to fucking complain, to fucking moan. And this is probably work in retail. The problem is people that get told the customer is always right. That is the worst statement in the fucking world, and it doesn't exist now, because sometimes you're just being a fucking dick and you need to get out. Right? I'm human too. I've got a family to come home to, and I don't need your shit. This applies to not just the retail environment, but to people enjoying comedy, to people enjoying anything. It's not all about you. Sorry you've been offended, but you've came to an 18 rated show. Unless you're going to like a clan meeting in America where everybody's wearing white ghost hats and they're fat, they're overweight and they're fucking idiots, then the guy's not doing it to personally target you in the audience. You know what I'm saying about this? It's sometimes...
I hope we don't have anybody watching that is like a clan.
I do. Fuck off. Unsubscribe. You're banned from this channel. Yeah, you fucking knob. I can't stand people. Like, everyone should. This didn't mean to turn into fucking the meaning of existence, but from Grand Theft Auto, but it has turned that way. But like, people should. Everybody just get along. That's my view on things. And like, if you don't like it, that's fine to say it, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to say it. I'm not saying it's free speech and say the N-word, say whatever word to women you want, say this, say that. I'm not. I'm just saying, see if it's a well-constructed, well-written joke that isn't directly, look at this guy, everybody, look, he's bad because of this. If it's just a general observation and a joke, but too many folk this is why I would hate to work in Grand Theft Auto 6. This is what I'm bringing it round to, is like, their jokes a lot was based along that, but it's like, that radio station they played was talking about, and do you know what? Women prostitutes are people too, and they shouldn't be spoken to like that. There's always a group springing up every week about fucking something, and I'm not saying they're all wrong, but I'm just saying some of them need to just realise that this wasn't about you, it never was about you. The problem is you've been brought up in the 90s and think you deserve to be famous.
Yeah. I mean, I think like there's big real life issues in the real world, right? That need to be dealt with, and like there should be groups and like things like that formed for that. Absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, this is a video game. It is a piece of art form, entertainment. Like, there's going to be jokes in it. Some of those jokes will offend people. Some of them won't. Some of them will land. They'll be funny. Some of them won't be funny.
But that's
it should have a. Because, yeah, that's okay. But it should have like a vast. this type of game should be like a vast representation of society. So you're gonna have some offensive shit in there, and like there's no reason for it not to be there. People might moan about it, but like it should still be there. And maybe even I think the best option for them to do is like have like a turn off, like a filter right at the beginning of the game. Like there is some offensive content in this game. Do you want it included or not? And
Like
if you
COD
say
did.
no, yeah, exactly.
You
Like all
skip
that shit
missions.
is not. It's just not in the game. Like you don't see it, you don't hear it. It doesn't even need to be in the missions. Like, but there's going to be like flavor text and radio stations and like
Do
background
you
things and that
understand
going
how
on.
difficult that would be to uncode from a game?
Well, I mean, you just don't. You just have it switched off. If they build it into the game from day one, then it'd be fine. And I think they probably would do something like that. But I think at the end of the day, it's a video game. It is not like
It's not real
it's
life.
not. It's not real life. It's not like I don't know. Like it's not politics. It's nothing like that. It is a video game. It's an art. It's a piece of art, piece of entertainment to be consumed. If you don't want to consume that type of
Don't buy
entertainment,
it.
don't buy it. So,
Yeah, but see, half the people that complain about these things don't even play the game. They've never played a game in
yeah,
their life. They've
yeah.
just
Like, and that's
started
fine.
like the South Ayrshire rights for video game victims, and it's like, what? Yeah, guy played Grand Theft Auto once and called me a name and then took my money. Yeah, it's not cause of that.
I
Like,
definitely think that
look at
it's
Hillary Clinton.
100%.
If you want to start on her, she tried to
Yeah.
ban San Andreas and she smuggled children.
But like I definitely think it's going to be an 18 rated game. It's an 18 rated game for a reason. Like
Yeah,
people under 18 should not play the game.
and
And
the
like,
problem I've had in previous jobs is so many parents, right? Now I understood. See, when I was young, said this at work the other day. I was talking with a couple of people from between the ages of retirement age and 23. Me were speaking at my work, so a varied age group about video games, and I had said that because they said about kids playing games they shouldn't, and I said, but this is totally on the adult, and both age groups said to me, "How's it on the adult?" I went, right. So when I was younger, I was allowed to watch Terminator 2. I wasn't allowed to watch Terminator 1. And they went, why? I went, Terminator 1 was an 18. Terminator 2 wasn't. It was watched before I seen it, and it was decided that that was okay. And it was age
yeah.
appropriate. So I said, video games up until Mortal Kombat, I believe. I could be wrong, but that was the first one to have a age rating on it. I think it was 15, Mortal Kombat. And it get banned in Australia. So video games have came out as a children's toy. That's how they came out. They were for kids, but I was a kid when they came out. So was Andy. We've grew up. I don't want to stop playing them. Neither does Andy. So they've had to advance them to our age group. So they had to get age ratings as well.
Yep.
And if a parent in the 80s, 90s, like my mum, who's oblivious to movies, games, entertainment, or anything fun, she could turn around and say you're not watching that movie. Then me in this age take away all my knowledge and everything. I can look and go, well, why is that got a big 18 sticker if you're 10 and you want to play Grand Theft Auto, Leo? I know my son's only 1, but it's not rocket science. So that parent is just giving into the kid's way, and then they're complaining at Rockstar for making that game, and it's like, but you've just gave your 9, 8, 7, 10 year old, and I can justify. I've played Grand Theft Auto online quite a bit, as you know, Andy, and the amount of times I can hear clear children playing this game, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Go and pick up your Buzz Light. There was a kid that started swearing at me one night, Andy. I hadn't done anything wrong. I don't grief. I do missions. And do you know what I said? Son, put your dad on. He went, what? What? What are you even saying? I goes, where's your dad? And why is that to you? I goes, put your dad, your mum on right now. And he wouldn't speak back to me after that. But I shouldn't have to deal with that in an 18 rated game. I shouldn't have to. I wouldn't have to deal with that at the pub. I wouldn't have to deal with that in an 18 rated movie. So parents is a big problem with this, and it's like, my kid decided that he was going to cut the heads off of all of his dolls. What was he playing? Oh, I gave him Manhunt. You what? Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the parents if you're at that stage, you shouldn't have children. There's certain movies your kids shouldn't watch. There's things that are age appropriate is the biggest thing. Like, are you going to take your 7-year-old to a nightclub to party, to the pub? Are you then going to take them to watch, like, I don't know, like fucking Blade? Like, I'm sorry, I'm old. Like, it's an 18. You're not going to watch Wesley Snipes cut people up in a shower of blood. There's no way you're going to watch, let your kids see that. They were scarred for life. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Are you going to take them to a casino and see all the bright lights and
to a strip club.
push the buttons?
How are you going to take them to a strip club?
Are
you going to ply them with alcohol? No. Because you
No.
would say that's fucking idiotic. So I, in argument, say, why does your fucking kid get Grand Theft Auto 5 in their hand?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there are some games, right? Like there are 15s in movies as well that are 15s, 18s, and some of them are suitable, right? And
Yeah,
some
like
kids
Terminator
grow
2.
up faster than others. Yeah, some kids grow up faster than others and are more able to adjust and be able to play these type of things, right? And that's fair enough. And there's going to be some examples where younger kids would be able to play it and be like, yeah, it's a video game, who cares? And it won't affect them.
Absolutely.
But there are some other kids that will, and it's up to the parent to decide on that. And like my kid is like 11 right now, right? And I wouldn't let her play GTA 5 right now.
I would
Like,
argue Bethany is one of the more emotionally advanced kids that would not be as affected by that as other kids. Again, she's not my daughter, so it's not my choice. Yeah. But I have observed more children in the past 3 years since I've had my own than I have ever. And my biggest example with that is my daughter is capable of doing a lot more than my son. And you might say that's unfair because Leo's 1, but by Leo's age, Lexi was speaking full sentences, whereas my son puts a towel in his head and runs into a fucking concrete wall.
Oh yeah, he's jackass. That's what he's going for.
No, he's stupid. He's stupid. He's stupid. But like,
he's 1 year old. Give him a break.
Bethany, when you speak to her, like she's like advanced. I wouldn't say she's advanced. Like going to work for NASA tomorrow. She's not, but she's intellect. And what is it? I don't know the right words for it. My head's gone. But she's
switched on.
She's
so like I'll
yes,
I'll let her play some games that are too old for her and stuff like that. But like the difference is with me, like I know the games, I've played them before, or at least I've looked them up to see what they are, and like.
But that's what my parents would do, and I'm pretty sure yours did as well back then about movies. If you went into Blockbuster before gaming sort of thing, you went, "Mum, I'll watch that." It was like Pinhead from Hellraiser. Your mum would probably like.
Yeah.
He ain't sleeping tonight. He's going to piss the bed.
Yeah.
that was last week. But like you know, like that's what I mean. Like that was the 80s and the 90s. So I mean, they're in the same sort of cases for a reason, Andy. It's so that the parents can associate it with the movies and go, look, there's an age rating on it. The kid can't get this, or ask about it. Go online. Like you've never had more resources in your life. My parents didn't have the fucking internet when I was growing up. Neither did yours. They just had to either watch the film themselves if I moaned that much, ask someone, or like say no. So if you don't play games, ask. If people ask me at my old job, is this okay for my kid? How old's your kid? Are they with you? If they weren't with them, I'd be like, it's up to you. I said, you need to either play it. I'll tell them everything bad in it that I can, but if you're buying it off the high street, there's places to get advice. Like if you're in the UK, you've got CX, you've got your game. I don't know if Game Station's still available, but there's ask where you're buying. It's gone. Ask at the counter. Like ask, is this okay? Like even in Tesco, if you're buying a game, I guarantee you anyone around the age of 20, 30 is going to know, guy or girl, is this game okay for my kid?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you.
They'll tell you no. For GTA,
most of the time,
no.
GTA, they'll say no. Call of Duty's the absolute same. You're murdering people. Well, no matter how you play, it's murder simulator. I had this argument with my dad. We'll wrap this up soon, Andy, don't worry. It's still early-ish. But like, my dad, I was watching a documentary. I don't know if I spoke about this. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Did I tell this story yet? No.
Okay. This
was like a month ago. My dad came in. I think my mum was just going in to speak to Lexi about something, or speak to Leo, or hang about with Leo, whatever. And we were in the living room, and my dad, I was watching this YouTube thing, and I was busy doing stuff. There was something going on in this fucking house. There always is. And I was like, my dad was like, oh, this is why you got all those murders in America. And I went, what did you just say? this is why you got all the murders in America. So I paused the video. I went, do you know what we're watching? He went, oh, violence, just violence. And I went, alright. I said, so what's the problem with it? He said, this is what sends kids loopy. I went, Dad, I've been playing this since I was like 15. I says, see the day 9/11 happened, I bought Rainbow Six, came home to your house and played it upstairs on my PlayStation. Ah, if I'd known that wouldn't happen. I goes, you did know about it. I says, you're just getting old. So like, because obviously when you get to a certain age, there's a different way you can talk to your parents. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, right, so what's your issue with it? Violence, just killing, senseless murders. I went, right, okay. But have you considered what that guy did to get shot? He went, oh no. I goes, okay, so this is an elite unit that is created to take away terrorist threats that pose a threat to the nation. So he's saved lives by doing that.
He's the hero of this game. The guy
Technically
that you're
the
playing
hero, and he's like, nah, yeah, it's nonsense. It's just, this is what happens. I goes, okay. So you're saying this is what makes people violent, is taking in multimedia entertainment in this world is what makes. Yes, it is. Alright. What's your favourite film series, Dad? And I know the answer to it. I mean, James Bond. I went,
James
cool.
Bond. I know
Cool.
that.
I went, what's James Bond's job? Oh, he works for MI6. I went, he does. I went, okay, so I'm taking away Sean Connery up until Pierce Brosnan. Let's get rid of all them. He went, what are you talking about? I went, you like Daniel Craig, don't you? He went, oh, he's really good, James Bond. He's so like the books. I goes, the books there, we'll hold that in a pin in a minute. I said, right, so let's talk about Daniel Craig's first film, 2005, Casino Royale. Stupendous film, I'll agree with you there, Dad. You seen him becoming a 007, a 00 agent, didn't you? Yeah. What did he have to do? Well, that's his kills. I went, okay. I went, but you're talking about viewing somebody doing something is what's making this happen. So he took the guy's head, smashed it through several sinks, and held it underwater till the bubbles stopped. Am I right? He went, yeah. And many folk you killed, Dad? And I sat there. He went, well, what do you mean about books? I went,
He didn't say zero. Oh, whoa.
He didn't say none, so there's a worry there. I said, right, the books. You've met my dad. But like I said, the books. He goes, yeah, what about them? I goes, racist, womanizing, kills more people than ever, doesn't give a shit. And I went, so you're telling me that you couldn't read that in a book and do something about it? You don't think books influence people? Do you know what he said? No, it's different. And I went, okay, Dad, have you ever heard of this?
The Bible.
That's exact. I said, have you ever heard of a book called the Bible? And his face just went, I'm going to see what your mum's doing. And I'm like, but you've just talked shit about my entertainment. Even though I never even get into it. He reads Tom Clancy books.
Yeah.
It wasn't even modern graphics. It was PlayStation. I was watching the history of Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you think this is what causes these problems in the world? You think somebody plays Grand Theft Auto and went, you know what? I really want to be a coke dealer. This is set me on that path to do so. Do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop this, and nobody, apart from video game programmers, has looked and played a video game. I could be wrong, please tell me if you're wrong. Maybe writers as well, and went, do you know what? This is my job. I'm talking about content from a game and went, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life because this game told me to. It's not happened.
No.
And if it has happened in the small occasions, it's happened just as much times with movies, with radio shows, with books, because people that let these things influence them are going to be influenced anyway by something outside interference. Video games, it's been proven by scientists, do not alter your mind state apart from like highs and lows and pheromones and like what's that, the happy thing, whatever
it's called. Yeah,
you know when you eat chocolate, that sort of thing. But like, it was just so crazy speaking to my dad that day, and that was his opinion on it because he'd watched it for 2 seconds. And this is why kids are all shooting each other in America. I goes, this game right here that came out 15 years ago is why kids are shooting each other. Okay, Dad. And that's why I went into it, but you understand what I'm saying, don't you? He just got annoyed, and then when he went onto the book thing, like, books don't do that. I mean, have you heard of the Bible? Of course, minds can be changed with forms of media. media, if you are a normal, I'm not saying I'm normal, but if you are generally normal and you're not diagnosed with anything that might make you murder people, you can generally play stuff and go, do you know what, I'm okay. This is entertainment. If you,
That
if
was
you,
fun. Like
yeah,
I
it's
killed
okay.
50 people there. That was good fun.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm
You're
going
never
to
gonna
go
go
out
out
and
and
murder
kill anyone
people.
in real life.
Yeah.
No. Like I think the big difference in America is like they have access to guns. Like that's it. The guns are around.
Yeah, but that's a
Bullets are
big,
cheap.
big problem they need to solve. They're
Oh yeah,
also
they need to
one of
solve
the
that. But
only
that's a whole
countries in
nother.
the world that turned around and said recently that they were going to still keep using coal. It's like, what the fuck for? What are you still
That's
using
one
coal
one
for?
about coal. It's to make all the guns, isn't
It maybe is for the
it?
forges. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like America is fucked because of guns. If they get rid of the gun, it's a problem for them to get rid of guns because there's so many like ingrained beliefs and whatnot. But like, if they get rid of the guns, people will stop shooting each other.
Yeah. It's a simple
I
fact
think
that
the
it worked here.
yeah, I think the best one I saw was a comedian talking about. I can't remember, maybe Chris Rock. Actually, he does like a skit about guns, and he's like, right to bear arms, blah blah blah. That's all fine. Just make the bullets really expensive, like
Yep.
10 grand for a bullet.
Yep. I
Then people will
agree.
think twice. Yeah,
Then it's like,
cool.
oh, it's 10 grand if I'm going to kill you. Then you're not going to get
Yeah,
15-year-olds showing up with Uzis at school mowing down people.
no.
Here's the other thing, right? Over here, even when you could buy guns, it was like handguns and shotguns mostly for farmers
Yeah,
or
yeah.
hunters and things like that, or gamekeepers. It was never ever go to Asda and pick up an Uzi with your cornflakes.
Or
That's
get a free AK-47 with your bank account.
that's just
What,
insane,
what is
which
that?
does happen if you watch Bowling for Columbine. Amazing movie. Not saying the guy does well these days, but back then he was very factual. But yeah, man, it's nuts. It's crazy that the rest of the world are looking at the world leader America. Like even Russia, I don't believe that you can go to like Spar and buy a handgun. You might be able to buy it from David down the road, but like, man, in this part of the world, like America shouldn't do that. I can't believe it's not just buying guns. It's the fact that there's some states in America where you can still like I can walk out and put a gun in my belt like I'm a fucking cowboy and walk down the street and no one can say anything because I've got a license for it. So what? Why?
Yeah, it's mad.
Why? That is a weapon. That's like me saying I'm a chef, so I'm gonna stick my fucking knife to my jeans. It's a weapon. Self defense. It's one of my rights. That was written like fucking 200 years ago. You insane bastards. Stop it. Stop it. Get rid of guns. The only folk that should have guns are the army and the police.
Yep.
Man.
And James Bond.
And, next time you see my dad, start asking him. Just say, you get influenced by books, Alexander. It's nuts. It's crazy though that it's just an old set of values that he's got that in his mind, because he used to run a record store before he was a teacher, that video games should literally just be Space Invaders, Centipede and Pac-Man. It's the only video games he remembers. He knows Sonic and stuff from me being a kid and stuff, he knows that, but to him, for his experience in his life,
It's a toy. Yeah,
it's a toy. It's like, it's
Yeah.
something to do when you're pissed. It's like a puggy, you play and you walk away. Because in his generation, that's what it was. You played Space Invaders, you walked away. But see, now he doesn't realise it's became to a lot of people, especially myself and you, like an art form that I appreciate more than cinema, more than music, more than books, more than anything. Like, because video games can be all of these things. Like, and I wish that everyone could appreciate them the way that I do. Because, do you know what I was doing tonight, Andy? And sorry, we'll finish soon. I was looking, I was playing, I can't remember what I was playing. I was playing probably San Andreas tonight, the original version on PlayStation 4, on PS5. I was like, do you know what? I was thinking, what time of my life was I most obsessed with video games? Do you know what the answer is these days? It's
Right
today.
now.
It's right now.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I was obsessed when I was a kid because, like, this is fucking great. This is so much better than that He-Man toy that I just got. This is the best thing I've ever played with in my fucking life. And then they tried to bring out Power Rangers, and like I went on Power Rangers, but I'm like, do you know what would be better? A Power Rangers game. And then they did it, and I'm like, This is even better. I don't need to have all the toys because I can play as them all, like Transformers, like Sonic. And it was marketed to kids, but we're the generation that grew up with them. We're the cartridge generation. We weren't the micro PC generation before that. We were the cartridge generation when they started linking things and doing licensed things. I'm not saying they didn't do licensed things in micro PCs, but Sega Master System, Nintendo Entertainment System, all the way up to where we are now. I'm most obsessed with video games right now. And if you ask me tomorrow, it'll be the minute you ask me. And when you've got a hobby like that, it's like you can't fathom anything else coming in to replace that. And that's a good thing. And I love it. I love it. I love the camaraderie sometimes. I'm not the most social person. I like playing games myself. I was brought up without an internet connection, so were you. So I enjoy a campaign, a fully realised campaign that doesn't have tacked on multiplayer. A lot more than I do like Warzone, Fortnite, like all these things. I would much rather sit in the couch and throw a controller off your head if you beat me than go online. I just would. And I love the internet. I love technology. I love everything I've got in front of me. I love doing this show. There's something about console gaming that the human element is a big part of it. And it's never going to change. But it's so nice and refreshing. And I was like, when are we going to stop the show? And we always said when we're 42. And I'm like, I don't want to stop when I'm 42 because do you know why? That's me admitting I'm stopping playing games. I'm not stopping playing video games when I'm 42. Why the fuck should I? Like,
No.
why should you stop denying something you love? Like, cyclists think they stop cycling because they're 42? No, because kids ride bikes, don't they? Did Tony Hawk stop skateboarding when he was 42? Because kids ride skateboards, it's a childish thing? No. Like, why the fuck should I stop gaming, talking about gaming and being excited about gaming, like, when I turned 42? And, like, I know that was a self-imposed thing, but it wasn't a serious thing either, but it's just like, I fucking hope that I die playing the Switch 700 or whatever it is. Like, I really genuinely hope that I'm playing them that long. Like, you know when you see old folks like my gran read books all the days, blah blah, watch Coronation Street. I genuinely hope that like I am that age of my life and still playing games. I don't want it to go. I don't want to like not grow up, but I don't want to get these interests that generations before us imposed on us and told us that that's what you do when you're an adult. It's like, no, I'm changing the fucking rules. I don't want that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that like what you consider to be old now, and like what old people do now, is
Yeah.
totally different from what like we'll do when
Well,
we're old. Old.
like, Andy, me and you we're a few years away from being 40 anyway. Like, years get quicker every... like, where did this year go? So, like, we're going to be 40 in no time. Can you see us going at 42 going, yeah, we're going to stop now? I don't.
Oh, I'll definitely not stop playing games now.
No. So, this show isn't stopping either. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we joked about it. We said our kids would get it at this point. I don't want to. I now want to be in a nursing home playing like the Switch 2 with Andy on like Switch Bowling 4 because I really hope they come back to that series hard and like they do it annually. That's what I want. I can't move my arm. Can you do it for me? Like, unless Elon Musk
You'll
is
need to get,
converting us
like,
all to calculators at that point.
Your eyesight will be so bad that you'll need to get a magnifier
I've-
for your Switch.
And
600.
if you've watched zero films from the 80s, by that point I will have cybernetic enhancements. I'll have fucking yellow eyes with a cross on them and I'll be able to
To be
play.
fair, I mean, you can get laser eye surgery now, so like if your eyesight gets really bad down the line,
Listen, I mean,
Fixed.
if you really liked PlayStation Home, then Mark Zuckerberg's got a shitter version called the Metaverse coming out pretty soon. By the looks of it, it's like Xbox avatars, but Facebook. If that's something you wanted in 2021 that was available in 2007, like, there's nobody around him say, Mark, mate, you're talking shit. Like, is he just get that money now that at that point that no one wants to tell him no? I believe so. Anyway, I'll
Yeah.
tell you, Mark Zuckerberg, stop what you're fucking doing. That looks bollocks. Like, if you've got that much money, like, just fucking bring back PlayStation Home, please, because that's the future. Watch Ready Player One. Like, just go and watch that and make that. You've got enough money to make that, and you show something from 2007 on the 360. Get to fuck. Anyway, we're going to end this show on the random ass tangent that we've just had for probably the last hour. Let us know in the comments if you're getting GTA Remake, if you're playing Football Manager just like Andy over there, if you are playing Forza Horizon 5, how are you finding it? Are you enjoying it? And GTA Definitive Edition coming out on Thursday. If you've not played it, are you going to play the Game Pass version? Let us know. We'll read all your comments out by next week. Thank you very much, Science Pie, for tuning out. Thank you, Tasha, if you've been watching it out. I'm pretty sure my wife has been, because how else would you know that I've been drinking? And thank you, all of you viewers. If you liked, subscribe, share, all that stuff. But if not, if you've watched this and you've just had a good time, we have too. Thank you very much. We're not going to see you on Friday because we've skipped through the news stories. We'll see you next Tuesday, guys. Bye now.
Bye.
There you go. You're so rude. You're so rude to every viewer that we've ever had, ever will have. Like, why do I need to prompt you to say bye? You went bye. No one wants to see that. Anyway, folks,